Chapter 37. After sorting out his feelings, Qin Feiyang pressed his finger on the first stroke of the word return and continued to write. This was a very dry and boring task that consumed a lot of true qi. In less than 100 breaths, the true qi in his body was almost exhausted. After taking all the remaining 10 qi-gathering pills and replenishing his true qi, he continued to write. However, these qi-gathering pills were simply a drop in the bucket. When his true qi was exhausted again, he could only leave the castle and absorb the essence of heaven and earth to replenish his true qi. If this continues, I don't know when I can master the return formula. It seems that I have to find more qi-gathering pills. Qin Feiyang muttered. After writing for so long, he couldn't even write the first stroke. He was quite helpless. Time flew. The sky began to turn white. Luo Qingzhu was ordered by her mother to leave Iron Ox Town with 500 qi-gathering pills and go to find Qin Feiyang. But about an hour after she left, a voice suddenly rang out. A black shadow surged from the distant sky. It was as fast as lightning. In almost 10 breaths, it arrived above the Lin family. There were 15 black eagles. When they spread their wings, they were 5 or 6 meters long. Their ferocious aura spread in all directions. The leading eagle was even larger. It was more than 10 meters long. Its black eyes were like 2 sharp blades, emitting a shocking light. Just a glance was enough to make people panic. These eagles were called iron eagles. They were ferocious birds. Not only were they extremely fast, but their feathers were as hard as steel. They were also extremely ferocious. On the back of each iron eagle, there was a figure standing proudly. They were expressionless, like gods of death descending. Their bodies were murderous, and the aura they exuded was unfathomable. The leader was the head of the Lin family in Yin City, Lin Han. He was like a king, looking down at Iron Ox Town below. His eyes were extremely sharp. The appearance of these people alarmed everyone in Iron Ox Town. Greetings to the head of the main family. The head of the Lin family ran out immediately and knelt on the ground with incomparable respect. Lin Han said, "Have you found Qin Feiyang?" The head of the Lin family trembled and hurriedly said, "I am incompetent. Please punish me." After saying this, a bone-piercing chill came from all directions. The head of the Lin family felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. His face instantly turned pale. He greets the head of the main family. "I beg the head of the family to spare my father." At this moment, Lin Yi came to her father, bowed, and said, "Are you Lin Yi?" Lin Han looked her up and down. "Patriarch, she is indeed my daughter." The head of the Lin family hurriedly said. Lin Han nodded. "You do have some beauty. Now, answer me honestly. Do you know where Qin Feiyang is?" "My lord, he doesn't know." Lin Yi said respectfully. "Do you really not know? Or are you pretending not to know?" Lin Han's eyes flashed with a cold light. "He can swear that she really doesn't know." Lin Yi said, "I don't think you would dare to lie to me." Lin Han was incomparably cold and arrogant. His gaze turned and landed on the Lin family's patriarch. He asked, "Where could Qin Feiyang possibly be?" "He's definitely hiding in the nearby mountains." The head of the Lin family said, "What does he look like?" Lin Han asked again. The head of the Lin family stretched out his hand, and true energy gushed out of his index finger. With a wave, a figure of Qin Feiyang condensed from true energy quickly appeared in everyone's sight. Lin Han looked at the portrait of Qin Feiyang, and a terrifying cold light flashed in his eyes. He shouted to the 14 people behind him, "Go and find him immediately. Even if you have to dig 3 feet into the ground, you must find him for me." "Yes." The 14 people responded respectfully, then rode the iron eagles under their feet and spread out with Iron Ox Town as the center. Boom! Crack! They were tyrannical and overbearing. Wherever they passed, countless beasts and ferocious beasts were annihilated. Mountains and jungles were wantonly destroyed, leaving behind a mess. The air was filled with a strong smell of blood. "Little beast, you dare to kill my son. You must have eaten a leopard's guts. Today, I will let you have no way out." Lin Han smiled coldly. He jumped down from the back of the black eagle and landed steadily in front of the father and daughter of the Lin family. Lin Yi and her father were dumbfounded. One must know that it was a height of 100 meters. He jumped down from such a high place, but he was unscathed and calm. It was unbelievable. Lin Han looked up at the Iron Eagle and ordered, "Old Black, you go and help to find him." Chirp. The Iron Eagle made a sharp chirp, flapped its wings, and quickly disappeared into the mountains with a gust of wind. Head of the main family, please rest in the hall. Lin Yi and her father looked at each other and carefully entertained Lin Han. I didn't expect Lin Han to come so soon. Treasure Pavilion. Luo Qianxue stood in front of the window, looking in the direction of the Lin family. Her eyes were full of worry. "Qingzhu, you must be careful." Luo Qingzhu didn't tell her where Qin Feiyang was hiding, so she couldn't send someone to inform her now. At this moment, Luo Qingzhu had arrived in front of the cave, but when she walked in and saw that there was no one in the cave, she was stunned. Could it be that this guy has left? She frowned and muttered to herself. Then she turned and walked out of the cave, shouting, "Qin Feiyang, are you still there?" At the same time, in the inner space of the ancient castle, why did I hear Luo Qingzhu's voice? Qin Feiyang was slightly taken aback. He turned to look at Wolf King and asked, "Did you hear Luo Qingzhu's voice?" Wolf King nodded. Qin Feiyang was surprised. The sound outside can actually be transmitted in here? But what is this Luo Qingzhu doing here? He closed the iron book and closed the iron box. With a thought, he appeared in the cave with Wolf King, then strode out of the cave. Sure enough, it's Luo Qingzhu. She stood outside the cave and looked around. Her charming eyes were full of suspicion. "Are you looking for me?" Qin Feiyang stopped at the entrance of the cave and asked. At the same time, he looked around vigilantly. Luo Qingzhu was startled. She turned to look at Qin Feiyang and Wolf King and asked in surprise, "Why did you come out from inside? I didn't see you just now." Qin Feiyang didn't find any traces of other people in the surroundings. He secretly heaved a sigh of relief and said with a smile, "The white-eyed wolf and I have always been inside and have never left. If you didn't see us, then you must be seeing things." Seeing things? Luo Qingzhu was stunned. Was she really seeing things? What's the matter? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. He didn't want to be entangled in this issue. Lu Yun and Yin Xuan have already told us everything. Now, everyone knows that you were framed by Lin Bailey and Yin Xuan. I came here this time under my mother's orders. She asked me to apologize to you and give you some compensation while I'm at it. Luo Qingzhu took out a Qinkuan bag and threw it to Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang took it in his hand and was shocked when he saw it. There were so many qi-gathering pills. Lu Yun, Yin Xuan. It seems that I have to thank these two fellows. Qin Feiyang smiled. He didn't have a good impression of Lu Yun and Yin Xuan. The two of them didn't like him either. However, he didn't expect that the two of them would help him clear his name. I'll accept these qi-gathering pills. However, I don't like to reap without sowing. I'll give you the gold coins according to the market price. Qin Feiyang counted carefully. Luo Qingzhu said, "There's no need to count. There are 500 of them." But my mother said, okay, thank your mother for me. But I really don't like to owe others." Qin Feiyang quickly counted 1,000 gold coins and emptied a Qinkuan bag. After putting it in, he stuffed it into Luo Qingzhu's hands. "You are not only arrogant, but also stubborn." Luo Qingzhu was a little helpless. "It's good to be stubborn." Qin Feiyang laughed. "What are your plans now?" Luo Qingzhu rolled her eyes at him, put away the Qinkuan bag and asked. Qin Feiyang thought for a while and said, "Since the misunderstanding has been resolved, there's no need to continue hiding. After a while, I'll go to the nearby cities for a stroll." "That's right. With your talent, Iron Ox Town won't be able to trap you forever. You'll get out sooner or later." Luo Qingzhu nodded. "I'm not from Iron Ox Town. I'm just a passerby here." Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. "Then I wish you good luck. I'll go back first." Luo Qingzhu finished and was about to turn and leave. Boom. Crack. But at this moment, a series of earth-shaking noises came from afar and entered Qin Feiyang's ears. What's going on? Two people and one wolf were shocked. They quickly ran to an open area and looked in the direction of the loud noises. An iron eagle galloped over like a bolt of lightning. A man in black clothes was standing on the back of the Iron Eagle. He looked down coldly and pointed his index finger. Beams of dazzling golden light that carried a terrifying destructive power blasted into the forest below, instantly destroying a large area. Battle Chi. Qin Feiyang's pupils contracted. Only battle monarchs could master battle Chi. This meant that the man in black clothes was a battle monarch. Luo Qingzhu said, "They're from Yin City's Lin family. In the entire Yin County, only they have iron eagles as their mounts. I didn't expect them to come so quickly. Qin Feiyang, you better hide immediately." But when she finished speaking and looked around, Qin Feiyang and Wolf King were nowhere to be seen. After knowing that they were from Yin City's Lin family, Qin Feiyang immediately brought Wolf King into the castle without anyone noticing. When did they leave? Luo Qingzhu was stunned. Wasn't that too fast? They didn't even greet me. How rude. She frowned and raised her head to look at the Iron Eagle. She said loudly, "I'm Luo Qinshua's daughter. Senior, please be merciful." The man in black clothes heard the voice and was slightly surprised. He looked at Luo Qingzhu and asked, "You're the girl called Luo Qingzhu from Xingyue City?" "That's me." Luo Qingzhu nodded. "What are you doing here?" The man in black clothes frowned. Luo Qingzhu smiled and said, "I had nothing to do, so I walked around and breathed in the fresh air." The man in black clothes said, "Then have you seen Qin Feiyang?" "Qin Feiyang?" Luo Qingzhu was stunned and shook her head. "No." Chapter 38. Roar. Inside the ancient castle, Wolf King growled at Qin Feiyang, as if asking him if he wanted to save Luo Qingzhu. "Don't worry," Qin Feiyang whispered. Luo Qingzhu's background was not simple. The Lin clan was probably just scaring her. If he ran out now, he would drag Luo Qingzhu into this. Outside, hearing the black-clothed man's threatening words, Luo Qingzhu was not nervous in the slightest. She said with a graceful smile, "Senior, I indeed don't know where Qin Feiyang is. At that time, Qin Feiyang knocked me unconscious. When I woke up, he was already gone. If you don't believe me, you can ask the Lin clan's clan head and the third hall master. Besides, I still want to settle the score with him. How can I cover for him?" She added another sentence. The black-clothed man looked at her for a moment. Seeing that she was not lying, he did not make things difficult for her and said, "If you find Qin Feiyang, you must inform us immediately." "Okay." Luo Qingzhu nodded. The black-clothed man waved his hand. The Iron Eagle under his feet spread its wings and flew away. Phew. After watching the man leave, Luo Qingzhu let out a sigh of relief. How did this guy leave? She glanced around and walked towards Iron Ox Town with a stomach full of doubts. This Luo clan's mother and daughter are not bad. Qin Feiyang muttered. No matter what they did at the beginning, after knowing the truth, the first thing they thought of was to apologize. The third hall master and the martial arts hall master did not take any action. This was the difference between people. Similarly, after this incident, he had a whole new level of respect for Luo Qingzhu. Although he could not see the situation outside, she was able to send the black-clothed man away with a few words. It was enough to show that she was very intelligent. He took out his Chinkuan bag and smiled brightly. He was worried about not having enough qi-amassing pills, and Luo Qingzhu delivered them to him. For his current situation, it was simply timely help. These elixirs should be enough for me to write the first stroke of the word return. The first stroke was a horizontal line. He moved as he said. He walked to the metal box and was about to bite his finger. But at this moment, Wolf King suddenly growled at him, his eyes filled with anxiety. What happened? Qin Feiyang lowered his head and looked at it in confusion. Wolf King roared a few times. Seeing that Qin Feiyang still didn't understand, he bit Qin Feiyang's pants and pulled hard. This time, Qin Feiyang understood. Wolf King wanted to go out. But what was he going to do? The people from the Lin clan were still searching the mountain range. What if they encountered them? Wolf King tore even harder. It even tore his pants. Qin Feiyang had no choice but to give up the idea of writing the word return. He brought Wolf King to the empty space. Roar. Wolf King growled and ran towards the left side of the forest. Wait for me. Qin Feiyang growled and hurriedly chased after him. The forest was a complete mess. The corpses of wild beasts were everywhere, and the smell of blood was pungent. The people from the Lin clan of Yin City are too much. Qin Feiyong clenched his fists, his face gloomy. These wild beasts were indirectly killed by him. He admitted that he was ruthless, but compared to these people, he couldn't even compare to 1%. Roar! Wolf King suddenly stopped and stood beside a pile of rocks, howling continuously. Bang, bang, bang. Qin Feiyong slapped, and the rocks flew everywhere. The rocks were gone, and Qin Feiyong was completely stunned. It turned out that there was a white wolf buried in this pile of rocks. The white wolf was covered in blood and had long died. Qin Feiyong finally understood what Wolf King was doing. It was looking for the pack of wolves. The alpha wolf walked to the white wolf's side and raised its front paws to push the white wolf. It let out a whimper as though it was calling for its kin. It sounded more like a sorrowful wail. Bastard! I'll remove your names from the great Qin Empire sooner or later. Qin Feiyong's eyes were red, and he gritted his teeth. His face was extremely ferocious. Roar! Wolf King suddenly raised his head and roared, his sorrow soaring to the sky. Qin Feiyong even found 2 drops of crystal tears at the corner of its eyes. He trembled and hurried to Wolf King's side. He patted its head and blamed himself. Brother Wolf, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. If you didn't help me find Uncle Yuan, it wouldn't have died so tragically. Roar, roar. Wolf King growled at it a few times, then shook its head, its eyes emitting a terrifying light. At this moment, Qin Feiyong instantly understood Wolf King's meaning. Wolf King was saying that it had nothing to do with him, and it was all Yin City's Lin clan's fault. It wanted to take revenge. Brother Wolf, don't be impulsive. With our current strength, going to settle the score with them is simply courting death. It's better to wait until we find Uncle Yuan first. Qin Feiyong hurriedly advised. Suddenly, he grabbed Wolf King and entered the castle with a thought. In less than 3 breaths, an iron eagle whistled and hovered in the sky. The black-clothed man standing on the back of the iron eagle glanced below, his brows tightly knitted. Strange, I clearly heard a wolf's howl just now, but why is there only a dead white wolf? He carefully searched the area, and after confirming that there was nothing strange, he rode the iron eagle and whistled away. A moment later, Qin Feiyong appeared again with Wolf King. After burying the white wolf, Wolf King continued to run wildly, looking for other white wolves. Qin Feiyong followed behind it, wanting to say something but hesitating. After running for so long, they didn't meet a single living beast, which was enough to show that the other white wolves were also doomed. But he didn't have the heart to say it. No. Now there are Lin clan people everywhere. We can't continue. Qin Feiyong rushed in front of Wolf King, turned around and stopped Wolf King, saying, "Stop and listen to me first." Wolf King stopped, gasping for breath, and looked at Qin Feiyong doubtfully. "We can't keep looking like this. Let's just go to the cave and wait. If they are still alive, they will definitely come back to find us. But if they don't come to find us, it means..." When Qin Feiyong said this, he couldn't continue. Wolf King stared at him for a long time, and then ran toward the cave without saying a word. A man and a wolf returned to the cave and waited until the sun set in the west, but not a single white wolf returned. Wolf King still didn't give up and continued to wait. Qin Feiyong couldn't persuade him and could only accompany him. The next morning, Qin Feiyong stood up and looked at the mountain range that stretched as far as the eye could see. He deeply sighed and said, "Brother Wolf, although this is very cruel to you, I must still say that they are all dead." Wolf King's huge body trembled violently. Awoo! All of a sudden, it got up, looked at the sky, and howled crazily. A monstrous evil aura rushed to the sky. "Brother Wolf, I promise you, in less than 2 years, we will directly kill our way into Yin City and flatten the Lin clan." Qin Feiyong also looked at the sun on the horizon and said word by word. At this moment, he was like a sharp sword unsheathed, emitting a shocking sharpness. Wolf King looked at him with tears in his eyes. "Let's go to the castle. Last time I killed Chaolang and got 300 body tempering pills, I will give them all to you to refine." After bringing Wolf King into the castle, Qin Feiyong directly took out all the body tempering pills. Wolf King's eyes lit up. Brother Wolf, we are now friends in adversity, life, and death brothers. You must not be polite with me, otherwise I will become hostile. Qin Feiyang said. Wolf King grinned and began to refine the body-tempering pills. Qin Feiyang also took a qi-gathering pill and continued to copy the word return on the iron book. Perhaps it was because the death of the wolf pack stimulated them, but now the man and the wolf were especially motivated. The people of the Lin clan searched the mountain range for 3 days and 3 nights before leaving. The land within a radius of hundreds of miles was completely razed to the ground. Not a single living thing could be found. It was a land of death, filled with a tragic aura. Iron Ox Town, Lin Clan, you are all battle kings, but you can't even find a small martial master. What are you all doing? Why did I raise trash like you? Lin Han pointed at the noses of the 14 people and scolded without caring about his image. The 14 people lowered their heads, not daring to breathe loudly. The head of the Lin clan and a group of servants were scared out of their wits. One of them mustered up the courage and said respectfully, "Head, I think that Qin Feiyang might have absconded." Absconded? Lin Han frowned and took a deep breath. He returned to his seat and pondered for a moment before looking up at the head of the Lin clan. "I will return to the imperial city immediately. Get someone to call ye here." The head of the Lin clan looked at a servant and shouted, "What are you waiting for? Go." The servant trembled and ran out of the hall as if he was running for his life. Lin Han said, "Linwei Linda, you two stay in Iron Ox Town. If Qin Feiyang comes back, kill him without mercy." "Yes." 2 men in black walked out and bowed. Lin Han said, "The rest of you will follow me back to the imperial city." "Yes." Everyone replied respectfully, "Lin Chong." Lin Han suddenly called out a name. The head of the Lin clan trembled and knelt in front of Lin Han, cold sweat pouring down his body. His name was Lin Chong. "Lin Chong, this time, you can only atone for your sins by dying. But for Yi's sake, I can spare your life. But from now on, Lin Yi will be my adopted daughter. She will have nothing to do with you anymore." Lin Han said, "What?" Lin Chong looked at Lin Han in disbelief. "Why? Do you have a problem with that?" Lin Han looked down at him with disdain, as if he was looking at an ant. Lin Chong hurriedly said, "Head of the family, I have worked hard to raise Yi. You can't deprive me of my right to be a father." "Humph." Lin Han snorted coldly and said disdainfully, "Do you think I don't know what you are thinking? You just want to use Yi to climb up the royal family's relationship and have a meteoric rise from then on. But there are some things that you are not qualified to enjoy." Lin Chang's face suddenly became extremely ugly. That's right. He did think so. But now, Lin Han's condition was tantamount to severing his father-daughter relationship with Lin Yi. In the future, whether Lin Yi could marry into the royal family or not, it had nothing to do with him, let alone getting a share of the pie. How could he agree to this kind of thing? Head of the family, he still wanted to say something. "Shut up. Now, you only have 2 choices. First, write a contract immediately to sever your father-daughter relationship. Second, I will kill you now. Give me an answer within 3 breaths." After Lin Han finished speaking, he looked at a man in black next to him. The man understood, pulled out a dagger from his waist, and placed it directly on Lin Chang's neck. Lin Chang trembled physically and mentally. He lowered his head, and his eyes were full of unwillingness. All of a sudden, he remembered what Qin Feiyang said to him by the lake that day. "Head of the Lin family, don't think that you have a chance to have a meteoric rise by climbing up to Yin City's main family. I advise you to keep a low profile, lest you end up with nothing in the end." Sure enough, this sentence came true. At this time, Lin Chang's heart was full of regret. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have done it in the first place. Chapter 39. 3 breaths passed quickly. Lin Chang asked someone to bring a pen and ink and wrote the contract to sever the father-daughter relationship. The knife was on his neck. Did he dare not to write? Although he was very aggrieved, angry, and unwilling, he could only endure it. As for Linny, she had no right to speak. If she didn't want her father to die, she had to sign the contract obediently. Facing the powerful and overbearing Yin City's main family, The father and daughter had no other choice. After Lin Han put away the contract, he took Lin Yi and his subordinates, as well as Lin Bailey's corpse, stepped on the Iron Eagle, and left. Lin Wei and Linda were ordered to guard the Lin family in Iron Ox Town. After this incident, Lin Chang no longer respected Yen City's Lin family in his heart, only resentment. He wanted revenge. However, his heart was full of powerlessness. This incident also quickly spread in Iron Ox Town, but no one sympathized with him. They all had a gloating attitude. This was the consequence of his own sins. In the castle, in the past 3 days, Qin Feiyang didn't pay any attention to what was happening outside. He just kept on copying. After breaking through to Martial Master, he used true energy to maintain his vitality. He didn't need to eat every day. 500 Qi gathering pills had been consumed. There was not much true energy left in his body. His efforts were not in vain. The first stroke was about to be copied successfully. There is still one last point. I will succeed. He gritted his teeth and exerted all his strength. The small amount of true Qi poured out without reservation. Finally, he copied the first stroke of the word return. That horizontal stroke was condensed by true energy, shining with dazzling brilliance. Qin Feiyang was overjoyed. Hard work pays off for those who wait. However, before he could breathe a sigh of relief, all of a sudden, a powerful aura roared out of his body. His strength was also soaring wildly. What's going on? He was shocked and bewildered. 15,000 genes of strength. 18,000 genes of strength. 20,000 genes of strength. This is the strength of 2 brute elephants. Qin Feiyang was stunned. It was unbelievable to the extreme. He actually broke through to 2-star Martial Master? He stared at the book in a daze, feeling as if he was dreaming. These days, although he had consumed a large amount of Qi amassing pills, he had not used them on his cultivation. But how did he break through? Furthermore, this speed seemed to be excessively fast. He clearly remembered that it took him 2 months to break through from a 1-star Martial Master to a 2-star Martial Master. But now, only a few days had passed. Even if his foundation was still there, it was absolutely impossible for him to be this fast. Gradually, in his mind, a thought that made him excited crawled up. Could it be that imitating a stroke would allow him to break through a small realm? It seemed that this was the only reasonable explanation. I didn't expect that copying this word would bring me such benefits. Qin Feiyang was overjoyed. While practicing the Huan character formula, he could also increase his cultivation. It could be said that he did not delay either of them, saving him a lot of time. Taking a deep breath, he closed the book, turned to look at Wolf King, and said with a smile, "Brother Wolf, have you made any progress in your strength?" Wolf King grinned and suddenly jumped, bumping into Qin Feiyang's chest. Caught off guard, Qin Feiyang was directly knocked back a step. The strength of 9 bears. How can there be such a strong strength? Have you broken through to a high-level beast? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Wolf King nodded. Qin Feiyang was extremely envious. 3 days ago, Wolf King was still a mid-level beast, only having the strength of 6 bears. But as soon as he broke through to a high-level beast, he directly had the strength of 9 bears. His strength soared, which was really enviable. However, this also proved that Wolf King's aptitude was not ordinary. Many beasts, after entering the ranks of high-level beasts, basically only had the strength of 7 or 8 bears. Beasts that directly had the strength of 9 bears were still very rare, and this kind of beast would generally have good achievements in the future. 300 body tempering pills, there were still 200 pills left. Qin Feiyang put them all away and then left the castle with Wolf King, rushing towards Iron Ox Town. Absorbing the essence of heaven and earth to replenish his true Qi was too slow. He needed a lot of Qi gathering pills. Moreover, Wolf King also needed Qi gathering pills now. "Brother Wolf, have you heard of the Gate of Potential?" Qin Feiyang asked. Wolf King was puzzled. On the way, Qin Feiyang told Wolf King the details of the Gate of Potential. After listening, Wolf King was a little tempted, but he was not confident and said that he would talk about it later. Half an hour passed. A man and a wolf walked out of the jungle and stood behind a bush, looking at Iron Ox Town in the distance. "I don't know if the Lin family has left," Qin Feiyang murmured. A small town was no different from a dragon's pool or a tiger's den for him. After thinking for a moment, he decided to wait until it was dark to go in. Brother Wolf, let's go to the lake first and see if Uncle Yuan has gone back. A man and a wolf turned around and ran towards the lake. The lake was still there, but the nearby mountains were also razed to the ground. Qin Feiyang searched the surrounding hundreds of meters, but still did not find Uncle Yuan. Where in the world did Uncle Yuan go to? Qin Feiyang was very agitated the whole day. Seeing that the sun was about to set, he sorted out his mood, jumped into the lake and caught a few big fish. The wild fish was very delicious, but a man and a wolf felt that they were chewing wax, tasteless. Did Uncle Yuan leave because he had something to do? No, even if he really had something to do, he would not leave without saying goodbye. In the dead of night, Qin Feiyang looked at the waning moon in the sky, his eyes full of worry. Iron Ox Town in the dead of night was as quiet as stagnant water. Two sneaky black shadows quietly sneaked into the town and went straight to the treasure pavilion. Luo Qianxue and her daughter had already fallen asleep. Creak. Suddenly, there was a sound of the door opening. Who is it? Luo Qianxue suddenly shivered, got up, looked at the dark room, and shouted coldly, "Pavilion Master, it's me." A low voice came from the darkness. In the place where the voice came from, there was a pair of green eyes. Qin Feiyang. Luo Qianxue was surprised. She took out a fire roll from the bedside, blew it, and looked at the door through the weak light. There was a man and a wolf standing there. It was Qin Feiyang and Wolf King. "Pavilion Master, please forgive me for visiting so late at night." After Qin Feiyang closed the door, he cupped his hands and said with a smile. Luo Qianxue looked at Qin Feiyang strangely, got out of bed, walked to the table in a nightgown, lit the candle, and then sat on the stool, asking, "Why are you here so late at night?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded, walked to the opposite side of Luo Qianxue, and was about to speak. Bang! At this moment, the door was shaken open by a huge force. Luo Qingzhu ran in with a worried face. She was sleeping next door, and Luo Qianxue's shout woke her up. She thought that someone was going to plot against her mother, so she ran over in a hurry. But as soon as she entered the room, she was stunned. How could it be Qin Feiyang and Wolf King? Qin Feiyang also turned to look at her, and he almost had a nosebleed. He hurriedly looked away. Because the nightgown on Luo Qingzhu was translucent. Although her undergarments could not be clearly seen, it was precisely because they were somewhat hazy and indistinct that it was even more alluring. Uncle Yuan often taught him not to listen to indecent things and not to look at indecent things. So, he definitely couldn't look. The atmosphere now was a bit awkward. Luo Qianxue also didn't expect that her daughter would break in at this time. After a short pause, she said, "Qingzhu, go and change your clothes." Luo Qingzhu screamed. Only now did she realize the main point. Her cheeks instantly turned red, and she hurriedly turned and ran out in a panic. Luo Qianxue frowned, looked at Qin Feiyang and said, "How are you going to solve this?" "What's the matter?" Qin Feiyang asked. "Playing dumb with me? Do you believe that I won't dig out your eyeballs now?" A trace of cold light appeared in Luo Qianxue's eyes. "Pavilion Master, this." Qin Feiyang was a bit at a loss. Although Luo Qingzhu broke in without saying a word and he didn't see clearly, he still saw it. "Pavilion Master, if you insist on pursuing the matter, I will take responsibility until the end." After thinking for a long time, Qin Feiyang thought of this sentence. After all, he was still inexperienced and didn't know how to deal with this sudden situation. Take responsibility? Hearing such a childish answer and looking at Qin Feiyang's aggrieved face, Luo Qianxue really didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Okay, it's not your fault. I won't pursue the matter. Tell me, why are you looking for me?" Luo Qianxue asked. Qin Feiyang breathed a sigh of relief and cupped his hands, saying, "I want to buy 1,000 qi-gathering pills, but I only have 2,000 gold coins now. Can I use other things to pay?" According to the market price, 2,000 gold coins was just right. But the price of Treasure Pavilion was more expensive than the market price, so it was still a little short. Luo Qianxue asked curiously, "Tell me, what valuable things do you have?" Clang! Qin Feiyong took out a large pile of weapons from his Chinkoan bag. These were all from the Black Demon stronghold and were not divine weapons. It was useless to keep them, so it was better to sell them. Just these scrap metals? Luo Qianxue frowned. I only have these. By the way, I also have dozens of bone replenishing pills and healing pills. If Pavilion Master doesn't mind, I will give them all to you. Qin Feiyong looked embarrassed. How shabby. A dignified prince of the Grand Qin Empire had actually fallen to such a state. It was truly lamentable and laughable. Luo Qianxue looked at Qin Feiyong and finally couldn't help laughing. Okay, I don't want the healing pills and bone replenishing pills. You will inevitably hurt your muscles and bones when you travel outside. Keep them for yourself. As for this pile of scrap metals, I will reluctantly accept it. Wait for me here. Don't run around. Luo Qianxue finished speaking, put away the pile of weapons, got up, and walked outside. Thank you, Pavilion Master. Qin Feiyong was overjoyed and hurriedly thanked her. No need to thank me. After all, I misunderstood you first and almost hurt you. I am already very satisfied that you don't blame me. Luo Qianxue smiled and left quickly. In this world, there are still good people, right, Brother Wolf? Qin Feiyong said with a smile. Chapter 40. Not long after, Luo Qianxue took out a Chinkoan bag and handed it to Qin Feiyong. Then, she briefly told Qin Feiyong about the current situation of the Lin family. Qin Feiyong thanked her and left the treasure pavilion with Wolf King. As for Luo Qingzhu, she did not appear again. However, this was also good. After that incident, when the two of them met, there would definitely be awkwardness. Lin family. The door was tightly closed and it was quiet. Now that there were two war kings guarding it, there was no need for anyone to guard it. Qin Feiyong stopped on the street in front of the door and looked at the tightly closed door, his eyes flickering. Evil people will be dealt with by evil people. Lin Chong, you reap what you sow, but don't worry, I will help you take good care of Yi. Brother Wolf, let's go. A man and a wolf quickly left Iron Ox Town and entered a forest. Inside the castle, Qin Feiyong poured out all the qi gathering pills and said with a smile, Brother Wolf, you can refine them as you wish. Eowo. Wolf King growled and did not hold back at all. He directly picked one up and swallowed it. Qin Feiyong smiled, walked to the front of the iron box, and saw the envelope again. Strange. Why would Uncle Yuan leave an envelope here? He frowned. There was not a single word on the envelope. He did not understand whether Uncle Yuan left it for him or not. Whatever, even if it's Uncle Yuan's privacy, I'll take a look. He shouldn't blame me. After a moment of silence, he made up his mind, grabbed the envelope, carefully opened it, and poured out a letter. Qin Feiyong picked up the letter and opened it suspiciously. Immediately, lines of small words entered his sight. Feiyong, Uncle Yuan has left. Uncle Yuan can't accompany you on the road ahead, but Uncle Yuan believes that you will definitely be strong enough to continue on. Seeing this content, Qin Feiyong's face suddenly turned pale. He continued to read. Feiyong, Uncle Yuan knows that when you see this letter, you will definitely be very sad. However, the fish will have to return to the ocean in the end and face unknown dangers alone. Uncle Yuan can't accompany you forever. You have to remember what Uncle Yuan told you every day. You may know a person for a long time without understanding their true nature. Don't trust anyone easily. No matter how desperate the situation is, we can't give up so easily. Actually, in these 5 years, Uncle Yuan has been tempering you. You didn't disappoint Uncle Yuan, climbing out of despair time and time again. With your current abilities, you are completely capable of standing on your own. Don't worry about Uncle Yuan, and don't look for him either. When the time comes, Uncle Yuan will naturally appear before you. Seeing this, Qin Feiyong was completely dumbfounded. The letter slipped out of his hand and fell to the ground, but he was completely unaware of it. Uncle Yuan actually left without saying goodbye. He found it hard to accept this fact. In the past, Uncle Yuan had told him countless times that he would never abandon him. But now, not only had he had left without a sound. Uncle Yuan, why did you lie to me? Since you can't do it, why did you give me a promise and give me hope? He squatted on the ground, holding his head with both hands, and his face was full of pain. 5 years ago, that big change caused him to be expelled from the imperial capital and lose everything. But with Uncle Yuan accompanying him, he still had a trace of warmth in his heart. But now, even Uncle Yuan had left. He was now completely alone. At this moment, his heart was in an unprecedented panic. He was afraid of being alone. He didn't know what to do next. Right now, he was like a headless fly that had lost his goal and direction. Wolf King also quickly noticed his abnormality, stopped cultivating, walked to his side, and looked at him in confusion. "Brother Wolf, Uncle Yuan has left. What should I do?" Qin Feiyang looked at Wolf King helplessly. No matter how mature his mind was, how strong his character was, he was still just an underage child. He also had a weak side. Wolf King was slightly stunned, raised his foreleg, and gently patted Qin Feiyang's shoulder as if to comfort him, with a questioning look in his eyes. "I don't know why Uncle Yuan left. He didn't tell me when he would come back." Qin Feiyang shook his head, looking dazed, which made Wolf King a little anxious. "Ow!" It roared at Qin Feiyang, as if it was trying to express something. However, Qin Feiyang couldn't understand it all. Wolf King was silent for a while, then suddenly bit his foreleg, blood gushed out, and then he actually wrote a line of bloody words on the ground in front of Qin Feiyang. "You have to work hard. Don't let Uncle Yuan down." These words were crooked and almost indistinguishable, but in Qin Feiyang's eyes, it made his body and mind tremble. Yes, Uncle Yuan had placed all his hopes on him. In these 5 years, he had put in a lot of effort to teach him. He couldn't give up on himself. Moreover, he didn't have the right to give up on himself now. "Brother Wolf, thank you." He regained his confidence, picked up the letter, and continued to read. "Feiyang, you must grow up as soon as possible, because your mother is still waiting for you in the Imperial Palace. Haven't you always wanted to know the origin of the marrow-cleansing pill and the changshui? Uncle Yuan will tell you now. It was your mother who secretly gave it to me when we left the Imperial capital. One last thing. You must remember it in your heart. Don't tell anyone your true identity. Before returning to the Imperial capital, let these secrets rot in your stomach. Remember." That was all the content of the letter. "Mother." Qin Feiyang hurriedly took out the changshui. He didn't expect that this dagger was left to him by his mother. No wonder Uncle Yuan told him to keep it well. "Mother, it's been 5 years. How are you?" "Son, I really miss you." He looked at the changshui, and his eyes gradually became moist. Suddenly, a fierce light burst out from his eyes. He suddenly got up, clenched his big hand, and the letter suddenly turned into flying ash. "Mother, you must wait for me. I'll be back soon." At this moment, his confidence, fighting spirit, all came back. He put down all distracting thoughts, turned around, opened the iron box, and concentrated on copying the second stroke of the word return. Time flew. 10 days later, Qin Feiyang withdrew his fingers, and his brows were tightly knitted together. In these 10 days, he didn't eat or drink, and consumed a total of 1,500 chi-gathering pills, but he was still a little short from copying the second stroke. The first stroke consumed 500 chi-gathering pills. The second stroke, he hadn't succeeded until now, and estimated that it would consume 2,000 chi-gathering pills. Such a terrifying consumption, for the current Qin Feiyang, was too heavy a burden. More importantly, the 3,000 gold coins that he snatched from Chaolang had been used up. If he wanted to master the word return as soon as possible, he had to find more gold coins. As for the other 500 chi-gathering pills, they were refined by Wolf King. Because of this, its strength was further improved. But its progress was like a flying leap. Right now, it possessed the strength of 3 barbarian elephants. This made Qin Feiyang envious. After leaving the castle, Qin Feiyang looked at Wolf King reluctantly and said, "Brother Wolf, I'm afraid we have to part ways." "Ayo." Wolf King growled, as if asking him why. "I need a lot of gold coins, but in the area of Iron Ox Town, there is nothing valuable at all. The most valuable thing is those fierce beasts, but even if I kill all of them, it's far from enough. I'm going to Black Bear City to try my luck," Qin Feiyang said. Black Bear City was a small city nearby, with a population of hundreds of thousands. Whether it was prosperity or economy, Iron Ox Town couldn't compare. Moreover, the Lin family had two war kings guarding it. If he stayed here, he would be on tenterhooks all day. It was better to leave as soon as possible. Wolf King lowered his head and remained silent. Sigh. Qin Feiyang sighed deeply and laughed. Brother Wolf, we'll meet again. Finished. He turned around, pretending to be free and easy, and ran into the forest without looking back. In fact, he felt very uncomfortable. Although he hadn't been with Wolf King for long, they had gone through thick and thin together. In his heart, he had long regarded Wolf King as his most important friend in life. However, there was no banquet in the world that did not end. Sooner or later, they would have to part. Eowao, a loud wolf howl came from behind. I will come back, because I promised you that I would bring you to flatten the Lin family in Yen City. Qin Feiyang muttered and turned around to look behind him. But just as he was about to withdraw his gaze, he suddenly saw a white figure flying through the air like lightning. It was Wolf King. Brother Wolf, don't send me off. Qin Feiyang laughed. Wolf King ran in front of him and put on an arrogant posture, as if to say, who wants to send you off? What do you mean? Qin Feiyang was stunned and looked at it in confusion. Eowao. Wolf King ran in front of him, growled at him, then turned around and continued to run. Qin Feiyang chased after him, pondered for a long time, and asked in surprise, Brother Wolf, you can't be thinking of going to Black Bear City with me? Wolf King grinned at him. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang was overjoyed. Ha ha, Eowao. One man and one wolf ran wildly, laughing wantonly in the forest. The wolf howled. At this moment, their friendship was further sublimated. 6 hours later, they arrived in front of a dilapidated mountain ridge. This place was called Iron Ox Ridge. It was the only place near Iron Ox Town where berserk beasts were concentrated. Originally, Qin Feiyang wanted to hunt a few berserk beasts on the way and see if there were any rare treasures. However, he didn't expect that it would be destroyed by the Lin family of Yen City. As far as the eye could see, there wasn't even a shadow of a berserk beast. Helpless, one man and one wolf crossed the mountains and continued to move forward. 2 days later, they finally walked out of the mountain and entered a desolate forest. In the desolate forest, there were many berserk beasts, but their strength was not very good. Either they were scared away by them, or they died under the fangs of Wolf King. And at the end of the desolate forest, there was a huge city, covering an area of hundreds of miles, majestic and spectacular. That was Black Bear City. Bang, bang, bang. Clang, clang, clang. A man and a wolf galloped towards the city, but the sound of fighting suddenly entered their ears. Qin Feiyang stopped and carefully distinguished. The sound came from the left. Let's go and take a look. A man and a wolf galloped away. 10 breaths later, they stopped on a hillside and looked ahead. There was a valley in front of them, surrounded by cliffs on all sides, and only a narrow entrance and exit. The sound of fighting came from the valley. Chapter 41. If someone is fighting, there must be some unexpected wealth. Qin Feiyang's eyes lit up. For him now, there was nothing he desired more than money. Woo-woo. Wolf King sniffed hard and growled at Qin Feiyang, looking quite excited. Brother Wolf, did you find anything? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Wolf King nodded and ran quietly toward the entrance. Qin Feiyang was very confident in Wolf King's sense of smell. He hurried to catch up. In the valley, 2 young men about 18 or 19 years old were fighting fiercely. Saber light and sword shadows were extremely fierce. Gusts of wind swept in all directions. Both of them only had eyes for each other. They didn't notice that one man and one wolf had sneaked into the valley and were hiding behind a rock, looking at them. Their strength is not very good. Qin Feiyang observed for a moment and came to this conclusion. Both of them were 9-star martial artists. The weapons in their hands were not much different. They were neck and neck. If they continued fighting like this, both of them would suffer. But why were the two of them fighting each other here? And it seemed that both of them wanted to kill each other. He looked around suspiciously. His eyes suddenly locked on a small mound on the left. There was a gorgeous flower on the mound. That flower was completely pink, and it was as big as a baby's fist. It was emitting a pink mist, and it was suffused with a fragrance that could make one's heart go crazy. Why does it look familiar? Qin Feiyang muttered. Suddenly, he thought of something. That was the blissful flower. It was the most important material to refine the blissful pill. The blissful pill had the miraculous effect of nourishing yang and nourishing the kidney. Therefore, it was highly recommended by men, especially those rich and powerful men who had many wives and concubines. They would have several at home at any time. It was also because of this that the blissful pill was very expensive. The market price was basically more than 200 gold coins, which was 100 times more than the qi-gathering pill. And as the main material, the blissful flower was naturally expensive. At the very least, he could buy it for 100 gold coins. I met a blissful flower as soon as I arrived. Looks like I made the right choice in coming to Black Bear City. Qin Feiyang was secretly delighted. As long as he could obtain this blissful flower, it would be equivalent to obtaining 50 energy-gathering pills. This was truly an unexpected gain. Brother Wolf, let's go. Qin Feiyang chuckled and rushed to the small mound in a few strides. There's someone else? Seeing Qin Feiyang suddenly jump out, the two young men couldn't help but be stunned. How dare you? Stop. Following closely, the two of them let out a fierce shout. Facing a common enemy, they raised their weapons and slashed towards Qin Feiyang. But at this moment, Wolf King appeared in front of the two like a bolt of lightning, baring his fangs and revealing an ominous glint in his eyes. Bastard, you're courting death. However, the two of them did not stop. Their target was Wolf King. The sharp sword and broadsword in their hands emitted a terrifying sharpness. Wolf King's eyes were filled with disdain. When the sharp sword and broadsword were close to each other, it opened its bloody mouth and revealed its dense fangs. Then, with a fierce bite, the two incomparably hard weapons were directly bitten off by it. The two of them were dumbfounded on the spot. Even swords made of black iron could be bitten off. Weren't its fangs too terrifying? It was definitely not a simple wolf. Run! The two of them had this thought in their minds at the same time and turned to escape. Qin Feiyang said, Brother Wolf, stop them. Oh, whoa. Wolf King roared and quickly caught up with the two of them, blocking the entrance. The two of them immediately fell into despair. They didn't dare to move at all. Wolves were not only ferocious creatures, but also very cold-blooded. A person who could be brothers with a wolf was definitely not a good person. This time, they were really unlucky. They didn't get the blissful flower and instead encountered such a strange combination. They were afraid that they would lose their lives here. Qin Feiyang uprooted the blissful flower and put it into his chinkuan bag. Then, he turned to look at the two of them and grinned. Originally, I didn't intend to make things difficult for you. But who told you to attack me first? How about this? Leave all the gold coins and I'll let you go. What? All the gold coins? The two of them suddenly had bitter faces. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, Do you think it's too little? Then just leave your chinkuan back. No. We'll give it to you. The two of them hurriedly shook their heads, took out their chinkuan bags, and poured out a large pile of gold coins. There were more than 100 gold coins, and they were extremely tempting. The smile on Qin Feiyang's face became brighter and brighter. This Black Bear town was not only a place with outstanding people, but even a mere 9-star martial artist had so many gold coins. It seemed that it wouldn't be long before they could gather 1,000 gold coins. Brother Wolf, let them go. After all, we are all good people. We have to keep our word. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, Good people? When the two young men heard this, they almost spat out a mouthful of old blood. Not only did they snatch their blissful flower, but they also looted all their property. Could they still be considered good people? It seemed that bandits were nothing more than this. They had seen shameless people, but they had never seen such shameless people. However, the two of them dared not speak out. They lowered their heads and ran outside as if they were running for their lives. Qin Feiyang walked to the pile of gold coins. Suddenly, he thought of something and shouted, Wait, brother, what else do you want to do? We've given you all the gold coins. If you don't believe me, you can check our chinku and bags." The two of them had a long face and almost knelt down. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "Don't be so nervous. I just want to ask, is there anything valuable around here?" Valuable things? The two of them were taken aback and thought carefully. One of them said, "There are a lot of valuable things, but it depends on the opportunity." Opportunity was equivalent to luck. Luck was a bit unreliable. Qin Feiyang asked, "Do you have any ready-made ones?" "Brother, how can there be a free lunch in this world?" The two of them smiled bitterly. One of them suddenly said, "I thought of a place, but I don't know if you dare to go." "Where?" Qin Feiyang's eyes lit up. That person said, 2 miles to the south, there's a medicinal field. There are all kinds of strange flowers and herbs. If you have the ability, I guarantee that you'll become rich overnight." Medicinal field. Qin Feiyang's spirit was lifted. He asked, "How many strange flowers and herbs are there?" That person thought for a while and said, "About a few thousand. However, it's very dangerous there. I advise you not to go." "Thank you. We'll meet again." Qin Feiyang smiled and kept the gold coins. Then, he brought Wolf King and ran towards the south. They really went there? That's the Pill Hall's medicinal field. Did they eat a leopard's guts? Isn't it better this way? If they anger the Pill Hall, they'll definitely die. So you purposely told them to send them to their deaths. Of course. The flower of bliss and our gold coins are not that easy to take away. However, why do I feel that the man looks a little familiar? Familiar? He does look a little familiar. I remember now. Isn't he Qin Feiyang on the wanted list? Damn it. He's worth 10,000 gold coins. Quickly chase after him. We can't let him go to the medicinal field. Otherwise, those stingy bastards from the Pill Hall will benefit. The two young men hurriedly ran out of the valley. However, with their speed, how could they catch up with them? Qin Feiyang and Wolf King had already disappeared without a trace. Inside a forest. Brother Wolf, medicinal fields usually belong to the Pill Hall or some big families. You have to be careful later, Qin Feiyang warned. As a prince, he knew some things like the back of his hand. When he heard the two words medicinal field, he already knew the motive of those two people. However, it didn't matter. As long as he knew in advance and took precautions, the danger wouldn't be that great. Moreover, there's no such thing as a free lunch in this world. Half an hour later, Qin Feiyang and Wolf King climbed to the top of a mountain that was about 100 zhang high. Looking around, the mountains were overlapping and the ancient trees were verdant. Suddenly, Qin Feiyang looked at the mountain on the right. His eyes were shining. About 200 meters away, there was a piece of land that had been cultivated. Many strange flowers and herbs were neatly planted there. They swayed in the wind and emitted rays of light. It was as if they were waving at Qin Feiyang. That was the medicinal field. Beside it, there was a waterfall that flowed down. Even from afar, they could hear the sound of the waterfall. Around the medicinal field, there was a clear stream. Fishes could be seen swimming in the water. There's indeed a lot. Qin Feiyang was extremely excited. When he was young, he read a lot of books. He more or less knew about all kinds of rare treasures. And that medicinal field, in addition to the medicinal herbs used to refine the body tempering pill and the qi gathering pill, there were also a few more precious medicinal herbs. Preliminarily, if he could loot this medicinal field, he would be able to get at least 5,000 gold coins. However, he didn't dare to act rashly, because in the left corner of the medicinal field, there was a small wooden building. On the balcony, an old man in black was half lying on a chair. He was drinking wine and humming a tune while monitoring the situation of the medicinal field. This person's aura was unfathomable. He was definitely not an ordinary person. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment. Thinking of luring the tiger away from the mountain, he said in a low voice, "Brother Wolf, howl with all your strength and see if you can lure him over." After saying that, he lay down in the grass. Awoo! Wolf King gathered his qi for a moment and let out a loud howl towards the medicinal field. It shocked everyone. Then, Wolf King was also lying in the forest. The old man in black frowned and looked at the top of the mountain where the man and the wolf were. A wolf cub dares to yell at this old man. You're courting death." Although he didn't see Wolf King, he was full of killing intent. In the blink of an eye, a bright beam of light cut through the sky, carrying a terrifying destructive power, and shot towards the top of the mountain. "It's Battle Chi. Brother Wolf, retreat." Qin Feiyang's expression changed greatly. He hurriedly turned around and rushed down the mountain without looking back. Wolf King also didn't dare to be negligent. But before they could run down, the Battle Chi suddenly blasted towards the top of the mountain. Accompanied by a loud bang, the top of the mountain instantly split into pieces. Pieces of rocks of different sizes rolled towards the man and the wolf, crushing everything in their path. Bang, bang, bang. Qin Feiyang and Wolf King immediately used their true qi to continuously crush the rocks. They spent a lot of effort to escape from this place. But in the meantime... Chapter 42. A man and a wolf hid in a dense forest, gasping for breath. So close. Who would have thought that the old man in black was actually a terrifying war king? This was going to be difficult. After catching his breath, Wolf King looked at Qin Feiyang with a questioning expression. Phew. Qin Feiyang let out a long breath, and then became silent. Luring the tiger away from the mountain was obviously not going to work. The other party was also a war king. They could not fight against him. What should he do to successfully obtain those medicinal herbs? After thinking for a long time, Qin Feiyang still couldn't think of a way to get the best of both worlds. Thus, he brought Wolf King around to the other side and hid on top of a mountain, closely monitoring the old man in black. A few hundred breaths passed. Wolf King turned to look at him with a trace of confusion in his eyes. "There's no other way. We can only wait now. I don't believe that old man will stay in the medicine field forever," Qin Feiyang whispered. Wolf King nodded. Anyway, there was plenty of time. At worst, they could just keep waiting and find an opportunity to make a move. Another hour passed. A weak gurgling sound suddenly rang out. Qin Feiyang looked at Wolf King with a puzzled expression. Wolf King opened his mouth awkwardly. Qin Feiyang suddenly understood. He smiled and said, "Go, but don't make too much noise." He had been in seclusion in the castle for 10 days without a single drop of water. After leaving the castle, he had rushed to Black Bear City without stopping. Not to mention the Wolf King, even he felt a little hungry. "Woo woo," Wolf King growled a few times, as if warning Qin Feiyang to be careful, and then quietly retreated. Not only 50 breaths. Wolf King returned to Qin Feiyang's side. So fast, Qin Feiyang was surprised. Wolf King shook his head, stretched out his front foot, pointed at the foot of the mountain behind him, and growled. Seeing this, Qin Feiyang was at a loss. He said, "You might as well take me there." However, Wolf King did not descend the mountain. He turned around and stared at the dense forest below. Qin Feiyang also looked over, but he didn't find anything unusual. Just as he was about to ask, 2 figures suddenly walked out of the forest and entered his line of sight. Why are they here too? Qin Feiyang was surprised. The 2 of them were the 2 young men he had met in the valley. Could it be that they also want a share of the loot? A cold light flashed in Qin Feiyang's eyes. He actually wanted to play the mantis stalking the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. He was really courting death. Be gentle. Don't alarm that old thing. I know. I don't need you to remind me. But where is this Qin Feiyang hiding? There are so many places to hide here. God knows where he is. Let's go up and have a look. The 2 of them discussed in a low voice while climbing towards the top of the mountain where Qin Feiyang and Wolf King were. How do they know my name? Qin Feiyang frowned. Wolf King turned his head to look at him, as if asking him, "What should I do?" After pondering for a while, a cold smile crept onto Qin Feiyang's face. He took out the flower of bliss and planted it in the soil. Then, he covered up his tracks a little and slid down the other side of the mountain with the Wolf King. "Come with me." After entering the dense forest below, Qin Feiyang took Wolf King and rushed towards the waterfall. After a dozen breaths, Qin Feiyang hid behind the bushes beside the waterfall and looked at the top of the mountain. Wolf King looked at him in confusion. "I want to use the blissful flower as bait to make the 2 young men fight and lure the old man in black away," Qin Feiyang explained in a low voice. The only thing he was worried about was that the two of them would hold back because they were afraid of the old man in black and wait until they left this area to fight. This meant that his plan had failed. Of course, the failure of the plan did not mean that he would lose the blissful flower, because he could snatch it from the two of them again. At this time, the two young men finally climbed to the top of the mountain. The intoxicating fragrance of the flowers immediately assailed their nostrils. It smells so good. It's the blissful flower. At the same time, the two of them saw the blissful flower. One of them was about to pounce on it. "Jiangwei, don't rush." The other person hurriedly shouted, "Don't rush?" Jiangwei was stunned and sneered. "Mu Fei, do you still want to snatch it from me? What a pig." Mu Fei secretly despised him and said in a deep voice, "If we fight here and alarm that old thing, not to mention the blissful flower, we might not even be able to keep our lives." Heard it. Jiang Wei couldn't help but feel scared and asked, "Then what do you think we should do?" Mu Fei said, "Pick it first, and after we leave here, we'll fight again." Jiang Wei thought for a moment and nodded. "Okay, but we have to make it clear who will keep the blissful flower. Anyway, I don't feel at ease letting you keep it." Mu Fei raised his eyebrows and said in a deep voice, "As long as you promise me that you won't mess around here, I'll let you keep it." "Okay, I promise I won't mess around." Jiang Wei readily agreed. However, he was sneering in his heart. When it entered his pocket, there was no way he would take it out again. Mu Fei said, "Go and pick it." Jiang Wei slowly crawled towards the blissful flower. The closer he got to it, the brighter the smile on his face. But at this time, Mu Fei's mouth pursed into a mocking smile. Whoosh! Suddenly, he was like an awakened poisonous snake, suddenly leaping out and mercilessly kicking Jiang Wei's butt. Jiang Wei let out a painful howl on the spot, missing the blissful flower. Like a rubber ball, he rolled towards the stream below. "Who the hell do you think you are, to actually want to fight with me? You really don't know what's good for you." Mu Fei sneered and grabbed the blissful flower. "You actually dare to come here and behave atrociously? Get back here and die." The old man in black suddenly got up and looked towards the top of the mountain, his eyes cold and piercing. "Go to hell, old thing." Mu Fei cursed and turned to run down the mountain and into the forest. At the same time, accompanied by a thump, Jiang Wei fell into the stream. The medicine field was just across the stream. "Mu Fei, I'm going to kill you." With a roar, he quickly climbed ashore and reached the top of the mountain with a few jumps. Seeing that Mu Fei had already entered the forest below, he hurriedly chased after him. He had been blinded by anger and completely forgot about the old man in black. Looking at the old man in black again, he stood at the edge of the terrace, his face gloomy, his hands clenched, cracking non-stop. After being ignored by Mu Fei and Jiang Wei, he was also angry. However, he didn't chase after the two of them. Qin Feiyang, who was hiding beside the waterfall, couldn't help but frown. It seemed that it was more difficult than he thought to lure this old man away. "Mu Fei, if you don't leave the blissful flower behind today, I swear I won't give up." Jiang Wei's angry roar came from afar. Blissful flower. The old man in black's body shook, and he jumped up with all his strength, as if he had transformed into an eagle. His feet didn't touch the ground as he crossed the medicine field and the stream, quickly reaching the top of the mountain and glancing at the forest below. "Haha, if you want to leave, you'll have to leave the blissful flower behind." He smiled coldly, his battle aura gushing out, turning into a stream of light, directly rushing into the forest and disappearing. "Brother Wolf, the chance is here, quick." Qin Feiyang laughed. A man and a wolf, like hungry tigers coming down the mountain, quickly ran into the medicine field. Without a second word, they crazily looted the herbs. Although there were many twists and turns, they finally tricked the old man away. "Humph, you still want the blissful flower, dream on." In the forest, Mu Fei sneered. "That old man is here too." His expression changed, and he glanced ahead. 100 meters away, there was a group of rocks, wild grass, and shrubs. 50 meters away, there was a rapid river. He used all his strength, quickly ran into the group of rocks, carefully hiding. Not long after, Jiang Wei also ran over in a panic. Behind him, The old man in black closed in quickly, full of murderous intent. Damn it, I actually forgot about him. Mu Fei, just you wait. I'll settle this score with you sooner or later. Jiang Wei cursed and ran to the riverside. Without hesitation, he jumped down and disappeared in an instant. The old man in black chased to the river. Looking at the rushing river, his gloomy face was almost dripping water. Consider yourself lucky. After a long time, he said coldly, turned around, and rushed towards the medicine field. Compared to the blissful flower, the medicine field was more important. There couldn't be any mistakes. However, when he returned to the medicine field, he was dumbfounded. Where were the herbs? Why did they all disappear? Not good. It must have been a diversion just now. Two little bastards. I'm going to kill you, he roared, carrying monstrous anger, and chased after Mu Fei and Jiang Wei again. But he didn't notice that as soon as he left, a man and a wolf appeared out of thin air. It was Wolf King and Qin Feiyang. Wolf King looked at the top of the mountain, his eyes full of sarcasm. Brother Wolf, let's go. Although Mu Fei and Jiang Wei are now scapegoats, if we are caught, they will definitely sell us out. While we haven't attracted attention, let's hurry to Black Bear City and sell these herbs. Qin Feiyang said. Wolf King grinned, his eyes full of sinister laughter. Whoosh! Chapter 43. Black Bear City. There were 4 city gates. There was a wanted poster at each city gate. Anyone who passed by would take a few curious glances. 10,000 gold coins. Who on earth is this Qin Feiyang? It's actually so valuable? This was the most discussed topic in Black Bear City. When the sun set in the west, Qin Feiyang finally walked out of the jungle and entered a flat road alone, walking towards the north gate. As for the Wolf King, it definitely couldn't enter the city. So Qin Feiyang let it hide in the castle for the time being. Walking on the road. At first, Qin Feiyang didn't feel anything. But gradually, he found that the atmosphere was a little strange. The passers-by he met all looked at him with a strange look in their eyes. And they were all following behind him. They seemed to be a little unfriendly. People. More and more. But no one said a word. They all stared at Qin Feiyang as if they were staring at a piece of delicious cake. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but frown. Suddenly, he stopped. The crowd behind him also stopped in unison. Some people even put their hands on the weapons at their waists. An atmosphere of mutual hostility quickly spread in this place. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows and continued to walk towards the north gate without saying a word. The crowd behind him also slowly followed. Soon, Qin Feiyang came to the city gate. The guards on both sides of the city gate saw him, and their faces became extremely serious. What the hell is going on? Qin Feiyang was confused. Just as he was about to enter the city, his eyes suddenly locked on the wanted poster next to him. There was a portrait on the wanted poster. Wasn't that him? Under the portrait, there were a few lines of big words. This person's name is Qin Feiyang. He kills people like flies and is unforgivable. Anyone who cuts off his head will be rewarded with 10,000 gold coins. Next to him, there was also a big red seal. King Yin of Yin County. Qin Feiyang was like a bolt from the blue. He was actually wanted. Furthermore, it was a warrant issued by the King of Yin, the Lord of the County of Yin himself. All the doubts in his heart were instantly resolved. No wonder Mu Fei and the other 2 knew his name. How could these people be so strange? Now, he was equivalent to a pile of glittering gold coins. Anyone who saw him would be envious. Prince of Yin. He clenched his fists tightly and stared at the seal. His eyes filled with a strong, cold light. Needless to say, Lin Han must have asked the King of Yin to issue the arrest warrant after he returned to the capital. The dignified royal family actually issued an arrest warrant without any investigation. This was truly absurd and laughable. It was time for such an unbearable royal family to disappear. But now, he didn't have the ability to do so. The most important thing right now was to escape. Qin Feiyang glanced at the crowd and said indifferently, "Why haven't you made a move yet? Are you not confident?" The crowd was silent. Indeed, it was because they lacked confidence. Even though Zhang Xian looked young, the fact that he was wanted by the royal family was enough to prove that he possessed extraordinary strength. Therefore, no one wanted to be the first to stand out. Qin Feiyang smirked and suddenly turned around. The crowd behind him immediately retreated a few steps in panic. Clang clang. At the same time, they unsheathed their swords. Don't let him leave. There are so many of us. We can drown him with a mouthful of saliva from each of us. Don't be afraid. Seeing that Qin Feiyang was about to escape, the few guards immediately shouted, "Let's see who dares to block the way today." Qin Feiyang smiled coldly and strode forward with large strides. The crowd kept retreating. No one dared to make a move. "Why are you still hesitating? Kill him with me." Seeing this, one of the guards roared and raised the broadsword in his hand, slashing at Qin Feiyang's back. The other guards immediately swarmed forward as well. Humph! Qin Feiyang snorted and suddenly turned around. Chang Shui appeared in a flash. Clang! The broadswords broke on the spot. Qin Feiyang threw a few punches at lightning speed. Ah! The guards screamed in pain and smashed into the wall behind them like meteorites. They spat out blood and their faces were pale. He's so strong. Seeing this scene, the surrounding crowd turned pale with fright. Those guards were all one-star martial masters, but in front of this guy, they didn't even have the strength to fight back. His head is worth 10,000 gold coins. What are you waiting for? Let's work together and kill him. We'll divide the 10,000 gold coins equally. The two guards roared. Kill. Men die for wealth. Birds die for food. Under the temptation of the gold coins, the surrounding crowd finally waved their knives at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang's eyes were cold. With the Chang Shui in his hand, he was like a human-shaped tyrannosaurus. Wherever he went, blood splattered in the sky. In less than 3 breaths, he tore open a gap and left the encirclement. More than a dozen people were lying on the ground, wailing. Don't let him escape. The rest of the people swarmed towards Qin Feiyang. I advise you, it's best to have some self-awareness. Qin Feiyang coldly dropped these words. Then, he used the shifting smoke steps and entered the forest without looking back. He quickly disappeared without a trace. Find him. The crowd also followed into the forest. What happened? At this moment, a tall and sturdy middle-aged man walked out of Black Bear City and looked at the guards in confusion. Captain, Qin Feiyang has appeared. He escaped into the forest. Everyone, chase after him. A few guards hurriedly said. Qin Feiyang. Hearing this, the middle-aged man's eyes burst out with a strong cold light. He said, You guys stay here and guard. Don't let anyone suspicious go. Yes. A few guards said respectfully. Then, the middle-aged man ran towards the forest. However, they were destined to not gain anything, because after Qin Feiyang ran into the forest, he entered the castle. Black Bear City has a warrant for arrest. The other cities must also have a warrant for arrest. It seems that I won't be able to move an inch in the Yin County in the future. Qin Feiyang stood beside Wolf King with a gloomy expression. Oh! Wolf King growled as if asking, What should I do next? If he couldn't enter the city, the medicinal herbs he looted wouldn't be of any use. Don't worry, there must be a way. Qin Feiyang comforted him and muttered to himself, If only there was a illusory form pill. The illusory form pill could change a person's appearance. But where could he find the illusory form pill in this wilderness? You stay here. I'll go out and take a look. Qin Feiyang reminded Wolf King, then left the castle and appeared in the forest. Following that, he hid here and there, came to the edge of the forest, and looked towards the city gate. A large number of people were swarming out of the city, and their target was the forest he was in. It seems that the news of my appearance has already spread in Black Bear City. Qin Feiyang was about to turn around and leave, but suddenly, he found 2 familiar figures in the crowd that was pouring out of the city. Why are they in Black Bear City? Qin Feiyang muttered. The 2 of them were Luo Qingzhu and Zhao Shuang. At this moment, a middle-aged man in black jumped out of the city and landed on the city wall. His entire body was emitting golden battle chi. Standing there, he was obviously particularly dazzling. War King. Qin Feiyang's pupils contracted. At the same time, Luo Qingzhu and Zhao Shuang also frowned. They stood under the city wall and looked up at the man. The middle-aged man was like a king, scanning the forest in front of him. His sharp gaze made people tremble. Suddenly, he saw Qin Feiyang standing at the edge. In his eyes, a monstrous killing intent suddenly emerged. "Little bastard, you're here." He smiled coldly and directly jumped down from the city wall. His feet did not touch the ground and rushed toward Qin Feiyang. "There's actually a war king. You guys really think highly of me." Qin Feiyang sneered and turned around to enter the forest without looking back. Everyone near the city gate also looked over and happened to see Qin Feiyang's back view. Suddenly, they seemed to have eaten stimulants and rushed toward the forest. "It's really him. Isn't he a little too bold?" Luo Qingzhu and Zhao Shuang looked at each other, their beautiful brows sinking deeper and deeper. Zhao Shuang asked in a low voice, "Sister Qingzhu, do you want to help him?" This, Luo Qingzhu hesitated. Helping Qin Feiyang was the same as going against Swallow City's Lin family. No, there was also the royal family now. If they were discovered, the consequences would be unimaginable. Although the Lin family and the royal family did not dare to kill her openly, they could send people to assassinate her. At that time, it would be impossible to guard against. "Help him one more time, but we definitely can't let the Lin family know," Luo Qingzhu said in a low voice. Zhao Shuang nodded. The two of them also walked into the forest one after another. Whether it was temperament or appearance, they were outstanding. No matter where they went, they were a beautiful scenery. But at this moment, no one paid attention to them. They were all looking for Qin Feiyang. They were also looking for him. However, after searching for a few hundred meters, they could not find Qin Feiyang. Moreover, there was no news from other places. It felt like Qin Feiyang had disappeared from the face of the earth. Luo Qingzhu and Zhao Shuang returned to the edge of the forest. At the edge, there was no one to be seen. It was quiet. Everyone thought that Qin Feiyang had escaped into the depths of the forest, so they all went to the depths of the forest to look for him. The two women stood beside a big tree and scanned the forest in front of them, their brows furrowed. With so many people entering the forest, and even a war king, even a fly should be found. Where was this guy hiding? Night fell. The forest fell into darkness. However, no one left. They held torches and searched everywhere, as if they would not give up until they found him. Luo Qingzhu said, "He must have escaped into the mountains. Let's go back to the city first and come back tomorrow morning to take a look." Zhao Shuang nodded. "Two beauties, are you looking for me?" But just as the two of them turned around, a faint laughter came from the leaves above. The two of them were stunned and looked up. Immediately, they saw a black shadow, pushing aside the branches, jumping down and landing steadily on the ground. Who else could he be but Qin Feiyang? "You've been hiding up there?" Luo Qingzhu and Luo Qingzhu looked at him in shock. Qin Feiyang laughed. "If I had been hiding up there, I would have been discovered long ago." At first, he was hiding in the castle. When there were no more footsteps, he ran out and hid in a big tree nearby, looking for an opportunity to enter the city. Chapter 44. Then where are you hiding? Zhao Shuang looked at Qin Feiyang curiously. It was incredible that he could avoid the pursuit of the warlord. But Qin Feiyang did not dwell on this issue. He smiled and said, "Beauties, we are old friends. Can you do me a little favor?" "Old friends?" The two women's eyes suddenly widened. Qin Feiyang was stunned. He scratched his head and smiled awkwardly. It was a slip of the tongue. "Actually, I wanted to say that we are old friends." Seeing this, the two women really could not tell. Was Qin Feiyang deliberately flirting with them? Or was it really a slip of the tongue? Cough, cough. Qin Feiyang became more and more embarrassed. He coughed and hurriedly changed the topic. "You have seen my current situation. If I don't change my appearance, it will be difficult to survive in the county of Yan," Luo Qingzhu said. "So, you want us to help you find a phantom elixir?" Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "You are really smart." Luo Qingzhu nodded and said, "Okay, but you can't tell anyone about this." "You agreed just like that?" Qin Feiyang was stunned. "Wasn't it too easy?" Zhao Shuang said, "In fact, we are here to help you, because we all know that you are wronged." Qin Feiyong was rather surprised, and he said gratefully, "Thank you, young Mrs. I, Qin Feiyong, will forever remember this kindness in my heart, and I will absolutely not mention this matter to anyone else." Luo Qingzhu smiled and took out a jade box from her cosmos bag. She handed it to Qin Feiyong and said, "There is what you want in here." Qin Feiyong hurriedly opened the jade box. A pure white, flawless pill entered his line of sight. It was indeed the phantom elixir. Luo Qingzhu smiled and said, "This phantom elixir was originally reserved for my life-saving use. Since you need it, I will give it to you. But remember, from now on, you owe me a favor." The phantom elixir was indeed a good way to save one's life, because it was difficult for others to recognize a stranger's face. "Thank you." Qin Feiyong looked at her gratefully, took out the illusory form pill, and quickly stuffed it into his mouth. Then, something amazing happened. Qin Feiyong's face twisted rapidly. In less than 5 breaths, a completely unfamiliar face appeared in front of Luo Qingzhu and Luo Qingzhu. Qin Feiyong still had the appearance of a young man, but he looked a little pale and had the aura of a scholar. Zhao Shuanger took out a mirror and handed it to Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong took the mirror and looked at it carefully. He nodded and smiled. "Not bad, not bad. This way, I can enter the city openly. By the way, why are you in Black Bear City?" Qin Feiyong returned the mirror to Zhao Shuanger and looked at the two suspiciously. Luo Qingzhu smiled and said, "My uncle lives in Black Bear City. Since it's on the way, I decided to pay him a visit." "On the way?" Qin Feiyong was slightly stunned. Judging from her tone, Luo Qingzhu didn't seem to like this so-called uncle very much. But this was someone else's family matter, and he couldn't be bothered. Zhao Shuanger said, "Qin Feiyong, you have to be careful now. Don't expose yourself. The warlord who is chasing you is from the Lin family of Yin City. And according to our sources, there are people from the Lin family in every city in the county of Yin." Luo Qingzhu added, "We came to Black Bear City this morning. Your arrest warrant was issued yesterday, so we want to ask around." Such a big lineup. These bastards really think highly of me. Qin Feiyong sneered. Whoosh. At this moment, there was a sound of something breaking through the air. Qin Feiyong looked over, and his expression was slightly stunned. Then, a trace of playfulness crept up on his face. The person who came was the old man in black who was guarding the herb field. Mu Fei and Jiang Wei were also there. But at this moment, the two of them had bruises all over their bodies. They were like two injured chicks. The old man in black held one in each hand. "Cousin." Qin Feiyong was secretly laughing at his misfortune. But suddenly, a cry of surprise came from the side. "What?" He was extremely shocked. He turned his head to look at Luo Qingzhu and asked, "Who is your cousin?" "Him." Luo Qingzhu pointed at Jiang Wei. Qin Feiyong was stunned. Jiang Wei was Luo Qingzhu's cousin? Wasn't this too much of a coincidence? "Cousin? Why are you here?" "Cousin, save me." When Jiang Wei saw Luo Qingzhu, he was a little surprised at first. Then, he asked her for help. The old man in black also looked at Luo Qingzhu. A trace of surprise flashed past his eyes, but he didn't say a word. He directly swept past the three of them. "Cousin, I beg you. If I'm brought to the pill hall, even if I don't die, I will lose a layer of skin." Jiang Wei anxiously shouted. Luo Qingzhu knitted her brows tightly. In the end, she sighed and looked at the old man in black. She said, "Senior, please wait." The old man in black stopped and turned his head to look at Luo Qingzhu. He said gloomily, "Luo Qingzhu, this old man knows that your identity isn't simple. But this time, Jiang Wei got into big trouble. Even you might not be able to save him." "May I ask, Senior, what's so serious?" Luo Qingzhu frowned. The old man in black said, "He and Mu Fei robbed all the medicinal herbs in my pill hall's medicinal field. Do you think it's serious?" "What?" Luo Qingzhu's expression changed. She angrily scolded, "Cousin, how can you do such a thing?" Jiang Wei hurriedly said, "I'm innocent. Mu Fei and I were used by someone." Mu Fei also quickly said, "Yes, yes, yes. It's Qin Feiyong and that damn wolf. But no matter how we explain, this bastard old man just doesn't believe us." Luo Qingzhu and Zhao Shuang looked at each other. They couldn't help but look at Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang stood straight. His face was calm, and he didn't look guilty at all. Seeing this, Jiang Wei was so anxious that he almost peed his pants. He urged, "Cousin, what's the use of looking at him? Quickly help me think of a way. I'm really innocent." However, he didn't know that the person his cousin was looking at right now was the culprit. Luo Qingzhu regained her senses and looked at the old man in black. She bowed and said, "Senior, I know my cousin's personality very well. He definitely wouldn't dare to do such a thing. Can you please be magnanimous? This matter hasn't been investigated clearly. I can't hand him over to you." After the old man in black finished speaking, he turned around and flew towards the city. As for Qin Feiyang, he had only taken a glance at him from start to finish. After watching the old man in black leave, Luo Qingzhu turned around and looked at Qin Feiyang. She said angrily, "You're too daring. Do you know what you're doing? Qin Feiyang, you're really unwise this time. The threat of the Yin City's Lin family hasn't been dealt with yet. Now, you've offended the Pill Palace. You're really... Sigh, I don't even know what to say to you." Zhao Shuang shook her head and sighed. "I didn't do anything. Don't accuse a good person," Qin Feiyang said with an innocent face. Anyway, he wouldn't admit it even if he was beaten to death. "You're a good person?" The two girls were angry and amused at the same time. "You're on your own," Luo Qingzhu coldly said before she quickly left. Qin Feiyang asked in a low voice, "Lady Shuang, is Luo Qingzhu not on good terms with her uncle's family? There seems to be some conflict. However, I don't know the details." Zhao Shuang shook her head. Qin Feiyang said, "Then why are you with her?" Zhao Shuang smiled and said, "I want to enter the Martial Imperial Palace in the Star Moon City. That's why I asked her for help. She's a good person. She agreed to help me without any hesitation. Then, I'll congratulate you in advance. The Martial Imperial Palace's examination is much stricter than the Martial Arts Hall. Whether you can pass or not is another matter. With your talent, you can definitely do it. Thank you." The two chatted as they walked towards the city gate. When they were about to reach the city gate, Zhao Shuang said in a low voice, "Although you've changed your appearance, you still need to disguise yourself when you sell those herbs. Otherwise, you'll arouse suspicion." "I don't have any herbs. What can I use to sell them? Why don't you give me some?" Qin Feiyang said. "You're so dishonest." Zhao Shuang rolled her eyes at him. Then, she turned around and walked into the city, leaving Qin Feiyang with her beautiful back view. She disappeared into the crowd. "This little girl, she's quite scheming. She actually wants to trick me, but she's still a little inexperienced." The corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth lifted slightly. However, what Zhao Shuang said made sense. It was indeed necessary to cover it up. Moreover, he couldn't buy them all at once. He had to sell them in several batches. Arriving in front of the city gate, Qin Feiyang glanced at the wanted poster and entered the city in a grandiose manner. He found a very ordinary restaurant to stay for the time being because he had no money in his pocket. For the current him, he could only look up to the high-end, grand, and high-class restaurants. He rested for a night. The next morning, Qin Feiyang went to buy a cloak and a set of black clothes. After dressing up a little, he entered the Black Bear City's treasure pavilion and successfully sold the first batch of herbs. He earned 2,100 gold coins. However, these 2,100 gold coins, he exchanged them for qi gathering pills on the spot, a total of 1,000. In the next few days, Qin Feiyang had been hiding in the castle, copying the second stroke of the word return. 3 days later, on the iron book, a ray of light suddenly bloomed. The second stroke was finally completed. Boom! His realm also broke through, and he became a 3-star martial master. "Uncle Yuan, thank you for giving me this treasure," Qin Feiyang muttered. At this rate, he didn't need to cultivate at all. As long as he copied every day, his strength would advance by leaps and bounds. However, the consumption of qi gathering pills made his heart ache. 1,000 qi gathering pills, he and Wolf King each took half. Wolf King still had 300 pills left, but he had already used them all. Gold coins, oh gold coins, why are you so useless? Chapter 45. Although the weather was hot, the streets of Black Bear City were still bustling with noise. Qin Feiyong walked among the crowd and listened carefully. Gradually, the corners of his mouth curled into a smile. Although 3 days had passed, the most talked about topic was still him. Moreover, there were still many people who didn't give up and formed teams to look for him in the mountains outside the city. As for Mu Fei and Jiang Wei, after a round of interrogation and investigation by the higher-ups of the Pill Palace, they were proven to be innocent and were released. Now, all the spearheads were pointed at Qin Feiyong. The Battle King of Yin City's Lin family had received an order from Lin Han to find Qin Feiyong no matter what. However, other than Luo Qingzhu and Zhao Shuang, no one knew that Qin Feiyong had already sneaked into the city. Take your time to find him. When I step into the Battle King and activate my battle soul, it will be the time of your death. Qin Feiyong sneered secretly. 5 years ago, he was known as a monster that only appeared once every 10,000 years. And now, not only did he have the 6 words divine formula, he also broke through the warrior realm and opened the first level of the door of potential. He had been reborn. Whether it was talent or potential, he was better than before. Plus, his foundation was still there. As long as he had enough resources, he was confident that he would be able to return to being a 9-star martial master in half a year, or even go one step further. The most important thing now was resources. Qin Feiyong put away his distracting thoughts and quickly rushed to the treasure pavilion. When he arrived near the treasure pavilion, he found a dark alley. Seeing that there was no one around, he took out a cloak and black clothes from his chinkuan bag and slightly disguised himself. Then, he strode into the treasure pavilion. He wore a cloak and black clothes. This outfit made him look very mysterious. As soon as he walked into the treasure pavilion, he attracted a lot of curious gazes. However, when a woman in red saw Qin Feiyong, her eyes suddenly lit up. She hurriedly greeted him and bowed. "Lord, you're here again." 3 days ago, when Qin Feiyong came to sell the first batch of herbs, it was this woman who received him. And Qin Feiyong said in a low and hoarse voice, "Sir, please follow me." The red-clothed woman hurriedly led the way and brought Qin Feiyong to a small room. This was the place to receive important guests. The woman in red smiled and said, "Sir, I'll go prepare some tea for you. Please wait for a moment." "No need." Qin Feiyong waved his hand. "Drink tea?" He didn't have the time for that. The woman in red was stunned for a moment before she asked, "Sir, are you here today to buy it? Or are you going to sell it?" "Sell." Qin Feiyong took out his chinkuan bag and poured out a large pile of medicinal herbs. "There are still so many?" The red-clothed woman was shocked. The transaction 3 days ago had given her a fright. However, she did not expect that there would be so many medicinal herbs. Who exactly was this mysterious man? Qin Feiyong frowned and said in a hoarse voice, "Count them quickly." "Yes, yes, yes." The woman in red quivered and hurriedly squatted on the ground. As she counted, she asked, "My lord, do you still want to exchange for qi gathering pills this time?" "Yes." Qin Feiyong nodded. "You're really a man of few words." The woman in red murmured and was quite puzzled. Didn't he just exchange for 1,000 pills 3 days ago? Why did he change again? Did this man eat qi gathering pills as if they were his meals? However, having been in the treasure pavilion for a few years, she also knew what to ask and what not to ask. Half an hour passed. The woman in red finally finished counting. After careful calculation, she looked at Qin Feiyong and said with a smile, "My lord, these medicinal herbs are worth 1,500 gold coins. You're now a big customer of the treasure pavilion. This time, I'll sell you the qi gathering pills according to the market price. There are 750 pills in total. If you don't have any objections, I'll go and get them for you now." "Thank you," Qin Feiyong said lightly. However, his brows, which were covered by the cloak, were frowning at this moment. To copy the first stroke, 500 qi gathering pills were consumed. To copy the second stroke, 2,000 qi gathering pills were consumed, which was 4 times the cost of the first stroke. If the third stroke was also 4 times the cost, then he had to prepare 8,000 qi gathering pills. 750 pieces was a long way from 8,000 pieces. "I'll just sell them all at once." Qin Feiyang made up his mind. At this time, the woman in red put away all the medicinal herbs and turned to walk outside. Wait. Qin Feiyang reached out and said, "My lord, what can I do for you?" The woman in red looked back at him in confusion. Qin Feiyang took out his chinkuan bag and poured out the rest of the medicinal herbs. Most of these medicinal herbs were relatively rare and should be able to be sold at a good price. As for the woman in red, she was completely dumbfounded. Qin Feiyang said, "Help me exchange these for qi gathering pills." Okay. The woman in red nodded repeatedly. Today, she really met a super big customer. After counting, she was extremely excited. She got up and looked at Qin Feiyang, saying, "My lord, this batch of medicinal herbs is worth 3,000 gold coins in total, equivalent to 1,500 qi gathering pills." Qin Feiyang said, "Bring me the qi gathering pills immediately." After the woman in red put away the medicinal herbs, she quickly walked out of the room. 2,000, 1,500, 3,000 gold coins. Qin Feiyang was also quite surprised. Originally, he thought that these medicinal herbs could only be sold for 5,000 gold coins, but he did not expect that they would be sold for 6,600 gold coins. Looting the medicinal field, money came quickly. It seemed that he had to inquire about whether there were any other medicinal fields near Black Bear City. After dozens of breaths, the woman in red returned to the room and handed Qin Feiyang a chinkuan bag. "Goodbye." Qin Feiyang did not count it and directly put it in his arms. After saying goodbye, he quickly left the treasure pavilion. But there was a big man in black sneakily following behind him. After a while, Qin Feiyang once again walked into the alley. As he was about to take off his cloak, he suddenly turned around to look. The black-clothed man was standing in the crowd outside the alley, looking around. When he saw Qin Feiyang looking over, he didn't show the slightest bit of panic. He looked around as if nothing had happened, then turned around and left. Uncle Yuan is right, but no matter who you face, you have to be careful. Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. Without a doubt, he sold large quantities of medicinal herbs, which had attracted the attention of the higher-ups of the treasure pavilion. But it didn't matter. Anyway, this was the last time. He quickly took off his cloak, took off his black clothes, used the smoke-gathering steps, ran to the other side of the alley, and soon disappeared without a trace. At this time, the man in black turned back and saw that Qin Feiyang had disappeared. He hurriedly ran into the alley and looked around. Was I discovered by him just now? It seems that this person is not simple. The man in black frowned. He quickly returned to the treasure pavilion and entered a luxurious room. A middle-aged man in purple was sitting beside the tea table, drinking tea. When he saw the man in black, he asked, "How was it? Did you see his true face?" The man in black bowed and said, "I am useless. I was discovered by him. Please punish me, pavilion master." Crack. The man in purple clenched his fist. A trace of hostility appeared in his eyes, and the teacup in his hand instantly shattered. The man in black hurriedly knelt on the ground, sweating profusely. However, the man in purple pondered for a while and suddenly let go of his hand. He said indifferently, "Forget it. A person who has so many medicinal herbs is definitely not an ordinary person. It is pardonable that you were discovered. You can leave now." "Thank you, Pavilion Master, for your mercy." The man in black thanked him, bowed, and left the room. At the same time, the man in purple closed his eyes. No one knew what he was doing. After a while, he opened his eyes, and a trace of playfulness appeared on the corner of his mouth. "It's not that easy to get away. I'd like to see just who you are. Are you the one who robbed the pill hall's medicinal field?" He muttered to himself, got up, and left the room. Qin Feiyang didn't stay any longer and directly returned to the restaurant. After returning, he remembered that he forgot to ask the treasure pavilion if they had beast spirit pills. However, when he thought of the price of beast spirit pills, he felt helpless. Beast spirit pills were not only expensive, but also rare. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that they were priceless. So, generally speaking, the treasure pavilion wouldn't sell them. They would only auction them. The highest bidder would get it. In the imperial capital, The starting price of a beast spirit pill was 100,000 gold coins. After some competition, it could rise to hundreds of thousands, or even millions. This was simply an astronomical figure for him. However, he had promised Wolf King that he would get him a beast spirit pill. Moreover, he wanted to get one as soon as possible. When he got along with Wolf King, he wouldn't have to guess anymore. What should he do? Qin Feiyong sat beside the tea table, frowning. What could he do to earn more gold coins? Alchemy. Suddenly, his eyes shone brightly. Only by learning alchemy and becoming an alchemist would he have an endless supply of gold coins, just like the batch of medicinal herbs that he sold. If he refined them into pills, the gold coins he sold them for would at least double. However, it wasn't easy to become an alchemist. First of all, he had to have extraordinary mental strength. Second, he needed alchemy fire. Third, he needed a pill formula. Only by fulfilling all the above conditions would he have the chance to become an alchemist. Although Qin Feiyong knew the basics, he didn't know anything about other aspects. This was because when he was in the imperial capital, he was immersed in martial arts. He didn't touch alchemy at all. After all, at that time, he could get whatever he wanted. Why would he need to refine pills himself? It was simply a waste of time. However, it was different now. He had to find a way out now. I might as well go to the pill hall first and see if my mental strength is qualified. He did as he said. Qin Feiyong got up and walked towards the door. Creak. However, the door was pushed open first. Chapter 46. An expert. Qin Feiyong stopped and stared at the purple-clothed man. His pupils shrunk. After the purple-clothed man entered, he looked at the layout of the room and looked at Qin Feiyong. He smiled faintly and said, Qin Feiyong, you really know how to hide. What? Qin Feiyong was shocked. However, the next moment, he was like a frightened little rabbit as he scanned the room in bewilderment and asked, Where is Qin Feiyong? A cold light flashed in the purple-clothed man's eyes. He said faintly, Aren't you Qin Feiyong? Who is this person? Does he really know my identity? A thought flashed across Qin Feiyong's mind. He turned around and looked at the purple-clothed man. He said in a panic, Senior, Qin Feiyong is a wanted criminal of the royal family. You can't say such things. Am I saying such things? The purple-clothed man asked. Aren't you? Qin Feiyong asked back. Kid, you're smart, but you can't hide from me. The purple-clothed man revealed a mocking look. Qin Feiyong said anxiously, Senior, I'm really not Qin Feiyong. There's a picture of him on the wanted poster. You can go and take a look. I don't look like him at all. In this world, there's something called the illusory form pill. The purple-clothed man said faintly. He walked to the side of the tea table and sat on the chair. He looked at Qin Feiyong playfully. Damn it, did Zhao Shuang Heir and Luo Qingzhu betray me? Qin Feiyong's heart was filled with murderous intent. No, this person's aura was unfathomable. He was definitely a battle king. If he was sure that Qin Feiyong was Qin Feiyong, would he still talk so much nonsense with him? Obviously not. He would definitely capture him on the spot. However, this person kept asking him questions. It was obvious that he was testing him. At this moment, his face sank. He faced the purple-clothed man and cupped his hands. Senior, I know you're powerful. However, you can't accuse a good person. Would the person who robbed the pill hall's medicinal field be a good person? The purple-robed man sneered. It seems like you've already determined that I'm Qin Feiyong. Since that's the case, I won't waste my time talking nonsense. I'll go to the Dan Palace now and ask the people there to verify my identity. When they find out that I'm not Qin Feiyong, I hope that Senior can publicly apologize to me. Qin Feiyong said word by word. After saying that, he turned around angrily and walked out. Even this didn't work. Looks like he really isn't Qin Feiyong. The purple-clothed man's eyes flickered as he smiled and said, Little brother, don't be angry. I was just joking with you earlier. Our pavilion. Qin Feiyong's pupils shrank. There was only one kind of person who would call himself the owner of this pavilion, and that was the owner of the precious treasure pavilion. But didn't he shake off the black-clothed man earlier? How did he find this place? He stopped and turned around to look at the purple-clothed man. He said, Senior, although you're the owner of the precious treasure pavilion, you shouldn't joke around like this. If someone heard what you said just now, do you know how much trouble it would bring to this junior? Yes, yes, yes. The purple-clothed man nodded and smiled. It's my fault. I hope you can forgive me. How should I address you, little brother? This junior is Jiang Haoyin. Qin Feiyang said a name without hesitation. Jiang Haoyin? The purple-clothed man frowned. Why hadn't he heard of this name before? With so many medicinal ingredients, he should at least have some reputation. The purple-clothed man said, May I ask where you live? What are your parents' names? What does this mean? Are you investigating me? Qin Feiyang frowned. I'm just curious. Please tell me the truth. The purple-clothed man smiled. Although he said it politely, it was obvious that he was forcing Jiang Haoyin. Although I'm not a member of the Precious Treasure Pavilion, I still know a thing or two about the Precious Treasure Pavilion's rules. First, don't ask about the guest's origin. Second, don't ask about the origin of things. Third, don't follow the guest. Senior, as the pavilion master of the Precious Treasure Pavilion, shouldn't you set an example? Why do you want to test the law? Qin Feiyang said. The purple-clothed man raised his eyebrows and said lightly, I didn't expect you to know the rules of the Precious Treasure Pavilion. But in Black Bear City, I have the final say. If I want you to answer, you have to answer. Qin Feiyang said, then you'd better kill me. Otherwise, I'll definitely go to Yin City and ask the chief pavilion master of the Yin County if you, a pavilion master, can really cover the sky with one hand? You're courting death. The purple-clothed man suddenly stood up, his eyes flashing coldly. You're the one courting death. At this moment, a cold voice sounded. Two girls came into the room side by side. It was Luo Qingzhu and Zhao Shuang'er. Why are you here? Qin Feiyang frowned. Greetings, miss. The purple-clothed man shuddered and hurriedly bowed. What, miss? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Zhao Shuang'er smiled playfully and said, You still don't know, right? Sister Qingzhu is the daughter of the chief pavilion master of the Yin County. Qin Feiyang was shocked. 9 states and 18 counties. Every county had 4 magnates. They were the county king, the chief hall master of the pill hall, the chief hall master of the martial arts hall, and the chief pavilion master of the precious treasure pavilion. The 4 giants each had their own duties and were on equal footing. Luo Qingzhu's father, as the chief pavilion master of the precious treasure pavilion of the Yin County, naturally had a high status. It was no wonder that the old man guarding the herb field had to be polite to Luo Qingzhu. It turned out that she had such a powerful background. Luo Qingzhu's face was cold as she looked at the purple-clothed man and said, I just heard you say that you're in charge here? Plop. The purple-clothed man directly knelt on the ground and begged, Miss, I was wrong. I will definitely change. Please don't tell the chief pavilion master, okay? Luo Qingzhu said, What about my friend? The purple-clothed man hurriedly looked at Qin Feiyang and said apologetically, Brother Haoyin, I'm really sorry for what happened just now. Please forgive my ignorance and foolishness. It's not that simple. You wanted to kill me just now. Qin Feiyang said meaningfully. The purple-clothed man immediately understood and said, I'll solemnly apologize to you. What do you think? Since you're so sincere, I'll forgive you. Qin Feiyang said with a smile. Miss, what do you think? The purple-clothed man turned to look at Luo Qingzhu. Since the person involved doesn't want to pursue the matter, I'll let it go. You're on your own. Luo Qingzhu said expressionlessly. Thank you, Mississippi. The purple-clothed man was overjoyed. He hurriedly got up and left the room, closing the door. But before he closed the door, he gave Qin Feiyang a meaningful look. Qin Feiyang retracted his gaze and looked at the 2 girls. He shook his head and sighed. I'm a man of indomitable spirit. I've actually been saved by you 2 girls twice. It's really shameful. What's wrong with girls? Are you looking down on us? Zhao Shuang'er glared at him unhappily. Qin Feiyang hurriedly waved his hand and said respectfully, I wouldn't dare. One of you is a genius girl, and the other is the miss of Treasure Pavilion. I'll have to rely on you to take care of me in the future. Glib tongue. The 2 of them rolled their eyes at him. Qin Feiyang chuckled and asked, Why are you looking for me? Luo Qingzhu said, we'll be going to Star Moon City later. We want to ask you if you want to come with us? Why? Qin Feiyang scratched his head and looked at them in confusion. He grinned and said, don't tell me you both like me. Like you? Why don't you look in the mirror? The two girls immediately rolled their eyes. Without saying a word, they turned around and left. What do you mean? Qin Feiyang was startled and became even more puzzled. Oh, so that's how it is. Soon, he reacted. The reason why these two girls invited him to Star Moon City was probably because they wanted to take care of him at a critical moment. Thank you. I appreciate your kind intentions, but I really can't go to this Star Moon City, Qin Feiyang muttered. Zhao Shuang, and Luo Qingzhu had already helped him twice. He didn't want to trouble them again. Most importantly, his future path was filled with danger. The closer they were to him, the more dangerous it would be for the two of them. At this time, the purple-clothed man returned to the room and said with a flattering smile, Brother Haoyan, you really scared me to death. Why didn't you say so earlier that you and the miss knew each other? Qin Feiyang sorted out his emotions and said with a fake smile, if I had said it earlier, wouldn't I not have been able to see your true face? The purple-clothed man laughed embarrassedly and said, Brother Haoyan, give me that universe bag. Universe bag? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. It's the universe bag that contains the Qi gathering pills. The purple-clothed man said. Qin Feiyang escaped from his embrace and frowned. Is there a problem with this universe bag? There is a small problem. The purple-clothed man laughed awkwardly. With a wave of his hand, a white beam of light shot out of the universe bag. Battle Qi. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows. Only now did he finally understand why this person was able to find this place. The reason was because of this battle Qi. After stepping into the war Qi realm and activating the battle soul, the true Qi would evolve into battle Qi. Therefore, battle Qi and battle soul were closely related. Just like now, when the purple-clothed man stored his battle Qi in the universe bag, he could rely on the battle soul to track the location of this battle Qi. Unknowingly, Qin Feiyang broke out in a cold sweat. Obviously, 3 days ago, after selling the first batch of medicinal herbs, it had already attracted this person's attention. However, he thought that by selling it in several batches, he would be able to do it without fail. How could he be so naive? So childish? In this world, there were many people smarter than him. What qualifications did he have to look down on other people's intelligence? This kind of mistake could not be made again in the future because it would cost him his life. Moreover, in the future, even if it came from the treasure pavilion, he would have to inspect it on the spot to prevent himself from being schemed against again. This lesson made Qin Feiyang completely wake up and realize his own shortcomings. He could outsmart his peers, but facing the older generation, especially those old foxes, his intelligence was far from enough. Seeing Qin Feiyang's gloomy face and silent, the purple-clothed man thought that he had angered him and anxiously said, Brother Haoyan, I'm really sorry. How do you want me to apologize? Just tell me. This apology was not just a few words of apology. The main point was the word apology. Chapter 47. What? The purple-clothed man's face turned green. Didn't you tell me to ask for it? Qin Feiyang opened his mouth, revealing a mouthful of white teeth. I did say that, but you can't ask for too much. The purple-clothed man felt wronged. You can refuse. I'm going to find Luo Qingzhu later anyway. Qin Feiyang smiled. What he meant was that if the purple-clothed man dared to refuse, he would instigate Luo Qingzhu to tell her father the truth. At that time, not only would the purple-clothed man lose his position as the pavilion master, but he would also be severely punished. The purple-clothed man's face turned gloomy. This youth was a trap. Qin Feiyang walked up and put his arm around the purple-clothed man's shoulder. Don't be like this. You and I both know that even if you give me 10 beast spirit pills, it won't be from your own pocket, right? The purple-clothed man's heart trembled. He didn't expect this kid to be a little fox. Can you do it or not? Say something. Qin Feiyang urged. The purple-clothed man gritted his teeth and nodded. Okay, but you have to promise me that if you have the chance, You will put in a good word for me in front of the young Mississippi. This is a small matter. Qin Feiyang readily agreed. Also, this is the first and last time. After all, the losses are too much and it's easy for the higher-ups to find out. The purple-clothed man said, Don't worry, I'm an easy person to satisfy. I won't ask you for a silver coin in the future. Qin Feiyang laughed. Easy to satisfy? I can't tell. The purple-clothed man rolled his eyes. Sigh. This time, he really suffered a double loss. The purple-clothed man shook his head and sighed as he left. In less than an hour, he asked the black-clothed man to deliver a chinkoan back. After sending the black-clothed man away, Qin Feiyang carefully counted. There were exactly 100,000 qi gathering pills and 1 beast spirit pill. This time, he really made a big profit. However, he knew that this was all thanks to Luo Qingzhu. How can I thank them? After putting away the chinkoan bag, Qin Feiyang lowered his head and pondered. A moment later, his eyes lit up. He found a brush, ink, and bamboo slips and concentrated on copying. He was copying a martial skill. Right now, he had nothing on him. He really couldn't take out any decent gifts. He only had the martial skills in his mind. Several hundred breaths later, with a wave of his hand, he finished writing the last word. There were a total of 2 martial skills. One was a support-type martial skill, Gale Steps. The other was a killing martial skill, Mystic Moon Palm. Qin Feiyang grabbed the bamboo slips and scanned them one by one. He said with a smile, These 2 martial skills are both perfect grade martial skills. If I take them to auction, it will definitely cause a frenzy. They should like it. Auction? Suddenly, Qin Feiyang was taken aback. Yeah, why am I so stupid? I can just copy the martial skill and auction it off. Immediately, Qin Feiyang couldn't help getting excited. The importance of martial skills was obvious to all, especially perfect grade martial skills. Even the big families of Black Bear City might not have them. Even if there was, at most, only one. However, in his mind, there were hundreds of perfect grade martial skills. This was simply a huge treasure trove. He was sitting on a treasure trove, but he didn't know it at all. He was still racking his brains all day, thinking about how to earn gold coins. What a fool. He hurriedly found a bamboo slip, but just as he was about to copy it, he hesitated. Although in the imperial capital, perfect grade martial skills were very common, and all the big families had them, one had to know that this was Yin County. If a large number of perfect grade martial skills appeared, it might cause unnecessary trouble. It seemed that perfect grade martial skills couldn't be easily used. Then he would copy a high-grade martial skill. However, what made Qin Feiyang vexed was that he couldn't find any high-grade martial skills in his memory. In the past, other than perfect grade martial skills, he didn't care about the other grades of martial skills at all, so he didn't care about them. Who would have thought that he would still need them now? I seem to remember that once when I was bored, I saw a few high-grade martial skills. Think carefully. Qin Feiyang closed his eyes and thought hard. After thinking for a long time, he finally remembered a high-grade martial skill called Reckless Bull Fist. He picked up the brush and began to copy. Reckless Bull Fist. The fist wind was like the roar of a bull. It was known for its ferocity and was a high-grade martial skill. After copying, Qin Feiyang carefully checked it again. After confirming that there were no mistakes, he smiled and said, I wonder how many gold coins a high-grade martial skill can be sold for in Black Bear City. Then, he put away the 3 bamboo slips, walked out of the room, closed the door, and went to the restaurant lobby. After asking the waiter about the location of the Jiang family, he left the restaurant and quickly went to the Jiang family. However, when he reached the Jiang family, he was told by the Jiang family servants that Luo Qingzhu and Zhao Shuang had already left. However, they hadn't left for long, so he could still catch up. He asked again, which city gate did the 2 of them leave from? The Jiang family servants told him that it was the West City Gate. Qin Feiyang rushed to the West City Gate without stopping. West City Gate. At this moment, there were 2 horses and 2 beautiful girls sitting on the backs of the horses, forming a beautiful scenery. The passers-by passing by here couldn't help but take a few more glances. There were even some young men who would go up to greet them. However, the 2 beautiful girls turned a blind eye to them. They were extremely cold. Their eyes passed through the city gate and looked at the crowded street, as if they were waiting for someone. A moment later, a trace of disappointment crept into the eyes of the two girls. Luo Qingzhu sighed and said, "Sister Shuang, he won't come. Let's go." Zhao Shuang said angrily, "This guy really doesn't know what's good for him." Wait. But at this moment, a loud shout came from the city. The two girls immediately beamed with joy. Qin Feiyang ran in front of the two girls as fast as lightning. Zhao Shuang pursed her red lips and said, "I thought you wouldn't come." Qin Feiyang smiled and said, "How is that possible? You two have helped me, so I definitely have to come to see you off." See you off? The two of them were stunned. Qin Feiyang took out the two bamboo slips and stuffed them into Zhao Shuang's hands. He smiled and said, "Thank you for helping me. I don't have anything valuable, so I prepared a little gift. I hope you don't mind." Zhao Shuang frowned and opened the bamboo slips. When she saw the contents, her expression suddenly froze. Seeing this, a trace of doubt crept into Luo Qingzhu's eyes. She took the other bamboo slip from Zhao Shuang's hands and looked carefully. Her delicate body also froze. He actually gave a perfect martial arts technique as a gift. This guy was too extravagant, right? Did he know the value of a perfect martial arts technique? Seeing the expressions of the two girls, Qin Feiyang immediately realized that he had greatly underestimated the value of a perfect martial arts technique in the county of Yin. Perhaps in Yin City, perfect martial arts techniques were rare. This is too valuable. I can't accept it. Zhao Shuang shook her head and was about to return the bamboo slips to Qin Feiyang. However, Qin Feiyang had already turned around and walked towards the city gate in large strides. Without even looking back, he waved his hand and said with a smile, "Beauties, if fate wills it, we'll meet again. Also, remember to think of me more when you have the time." Luo Qingzhu immediately rolled their eyes. "Thank you," Zhao Shuang silently said in her heart. Luo Qingzhu's family background was illustrious. It was not difficult for her to obtain a perfect martial arts technique, but she was only a child of a small family. No matter what, she had to rely on her own ability to fight for it. To her, a perfect martial arts technique was a dream. Qin Feiyang had now given her two perfect martial arts techniques. At least it would allow her to struggle less for a few years. So, she was especially grateful. "Who the hell are you?" Luo Qingzhu also muttered in her heart. Perfect martial arts techniques, even the big families of Yin City and Star Moon City would hide them like treasures. But this guy, he gave out two of them without even batting an eyelid. Without a certain family background, it was impossible to do it so easily. Moreover, the words on the bamboo scroll were vigorous and powerful, like dragons flying and phoenixes dancing. The spirit energy was oppressive. Only a person who had read a lot of books and poems and was knowledgeable could write it. But wasn't Qin Feiyang a country bumpkin? How could he write such lively words? All of a sudden, she felt that Qin Feiyang's body was covered with a mysterious veil, appearing unfathomable. "Sister Shuang, let's go. I have a premonition that we will meet him again soon." Luo Qingzhu laughed, and Zhao Shuang nodded. The two of them put away the bamboo scroll and pulled the reins. The two horses neighed and brought them away. At the same time, Qin Feiyang rushed to the treasure pavilion. But just as he entered the hall, a purple-clothed youth bumped into him. Bang! The two of them collided. Qin Feiyang took 3 steps back. The purple-clothed youth staggered and fell to the ground. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. The purple-clothed youth cursed on the spot, quickly got up, and stared at Qin Feiyang. "Don't you have eyes? You dare to bump into Laozi. Believe it or not, Laozi will kill you." Mu Fei. Qin Feiyang was a little stunned. As the saying went, enemies are destined to meet. This was indeed true. Mu Fei saw that Qin Feiyang was silent, but looked at him strangely. He suddenly became angry and shouted, "What are you looking at? Didn't you hear Laozi's words? Hurry up and apologize to Laozi, or I will dig out your dog eyes." "Apologize? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself? Who do you think you are?" Qin Feiyang was about to speak, but a disdainful voice sounded first. Another purple-clothed youth, surrounded by several guards, walked into the treasure pavilion and came to Qin Feiyang's side. He reached out and patted Qin Feiyang's shoulder, smiled and said, "Brother, don't be afraid of him. He is just a coward." Jiang Wei. Qin Feiyang was stunned. It turned out to be an old acquaintance. Mu Fei frowned and sneered. "Jiang Wei? Is he your father? You are so nosy." "You have the wrong person. I am not his father." Qin Feiyang shook his head very seriously. Puff! The onlookers inside and outside burst into laughter. Was it necessary to be so insulting? However, Jiang Wei's face turned completely red. "Young master, this person is too insensible. You helped him with good intentions, but he insulted you like this. Just directly cripple him." "Young master, it was this person who came to find Mississippi." Several servants next to him whispered and instigated, all with unkind eyes. Jiang Wei raised his eyebrows, looked up and down at Qin Feiyang for a moment, and suddenly said, "I was wondering why you looked so familiar. It turned out that night in the jungle, you were standing beside my cousin. Tell me honestly, are you my cousin's friend?" Qin Feiyang nodded. "Then we are also on the same side." Jiang Wei smiled very brightly, turned around and took a few steps back. Once again looking at Qin Feiyang, he instantly turned hostile, waved his hand and shouted, "What are you waiting for? Beat him to death." Chapter 48. Qin Feiyang glanced at the few servants, and the smile on his face suddenly disappeared. Bang! He struck out with his palm, and his true energy was like a dragon. Bang, bang, bang! Several servants spurted blood on the spot and flew out. There were many people outside, and they could not dodge in time, and were smashed to the ground. This place was suddenly filled with wails. Jiang Wei and Mu Fei were dumbfounded. True energy. He was actually a martial master. The others were also dumbstruck. Qin Feiyang's changed appearance was a little pale, and his whole body exuded a scholarly aura. Therefore, everyone present thought that he was just an ordinary person who had no strength to truss a chicken. They were still worried when they saw the few servants pouncing on him just now. But they did not expect this person to be so secretive. Just as everyone was shocked, Qin Feiyang looked at Jiang Wei. Whoosh! He took a step forward and landed in front of Jiang Wei. His big hand was like an eagle's claw, directly grabbing Jiang Wei's neck. "Ah, brother, spare my life. I was wrong just now. I apologize to you. I apologize to you." Jiang Wei cried out in alarm, his heart flustered. As he shouted with all his might, he used all his strength to hit Qin Feiyang's fingers. At the same time, Mu Fei also squeezed into the crowd and was ready to escape. "Stop right there," Qin Feiyang said lightly. "He didn't see me. He didn't see me." Mu Fei comforted himself and squeezed out with all his strength. "Mu Fei, do you need me to say it again?" Qin Feiyang spoke again. Mu Fei's body trembled and walked out of the crowd obediently. He stood there with his hands clasped together and was extremely nervous. Qin Feiyang said lightly, "I am a very reasonable person. Give me 100,000 gold coins each and I will let this matter go. Otherwise, I will take off your clothes and make you run on the street." 100,000. Not to mention Mu Fei. Even the bystanders around them were dumbfounded by what they saw. How was this reasonable? This was simply the behavior of a bandit. Qin Feiyang pursed his lips and said lightly, "Why? You can't take it out?" Mu Fei begged, "Big brother, 100,000 gold coins. There's really no other way. Can you reduce it a bit?" Jiang Wei also hurriedly nodded and said, "Yes, yes, yes. Please be magnanimous and let us go this time. I promise that I will go around you the next time we meet. Don't fall into my hands again." Scram. As soon as Qin Feiyang loosened his grip, Jiang Wei immediately collapsed to the ground. Mu Fei ran out of treasure pavilion like he was running for his life. However, Jiang Wei could not stand up. He shouted at the servants in a flustered and exasperated manner, "Why aren't you coming over to help me?" Those few servants ran over, grabbed Jiang Wei, and then turned around and fled like rats. "Young man, you were right to let them go. That's right. One of them is the young master of the Mu clan, while the other is the young master of the Jiang clan. Even if you're a martial master, you can't afford to offend them. You'd better leave quickly. The two of them are famous for being vengeful. They'll definitely bring people to find trouble with you later. The surrounding crowd advised. Thank you for your concern. Qin Feiyong cupped his hands and thanked them. He looked at a staff member next to him and said, Take me to see the pavilion master. See the pavilion master? The staff member frowned and asked, May I ask how to address the young master? Can you make an appointment with the pavilion master in advance? So it's young Master Jiang. Please forgive me for not going out to meet you. The black-clothed man hurriedly walked over. Originally, he was upstairs. When he heard the commotion downstairs, he came down to take a look. He didn't expect it to be this young master. After coming to Qin Feiyong's side, he looked at the staff member and scolded. This young Master Jiang is the pavilion master's guest. Don't be rude. The man's face changed and hurriedly said, I have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Please forgive me for my previous offense.
It's fine.
Qin Feiyong smiled and followed the black-clothed large man up the stairs. I can't tell that he's actually the pavilion master's guest. No wonder he disdained Mu Fei and Jiang Wei. That's not right. Is there anyone surnamed Jiang in our Black Bear City? Everyone was puzzled. On the second floor, in the VIP room, the purple-clothed man was leisurely drinking tea, but when he saw Qin Feiyong come in, he spat out a mouthful of tea on the spot. Qin Feiyong's face twitched and he teased, Pavilion Master, I know you want to see me very much, but you don't have to be so excited. This makes me a little flattered. These words almost made the purple-clothed man spit out a mouthful of old blood. He really wanted to ask Qin Feiyong, where did he get the idea that he was excited? And where did he get the idea that he wanted to see him? Was it really good to be so narcissistic? Phew. He let out a long breath, looked at the black-clothed man, and waved his hand. You can go out? Yes. The black-clothed man bowed and left, closing the door. It was the first time he saw the pavilion master being defeated. His face was red, and he wanted to laugh but didn't dare to. The purple-clothed man returned to his seat and asked weakly, Didn't you say? You didn't ask me for half a silver coin. Why are you here now? Qin Feiyong was stunned. He sat opposite the purple-clothed man and said, Do you think I'm here to blackmail you? Aren't you? The purple-clothed man frowned. Actually, I'm quite kind. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly, took out the bamboo scroll, and placed it on the tea table. To hell with your kindness. The purple-clothed man looked at him disdainfully, got up, grabbed the bamboo scroll and opened it. A superior martial arts technique? He looked at Qin Feiyong in surprise. Qin Feiyong smiled and said, It's indeed a superior martial arts technique, but it's not for you. I want to ask you to help me auction it. Auction it? The purple-clothed man was stunned for a moment and asked, Have you thought it through? Qin Feiyong nodded. Okay, Li Si, come in. The purple-clothed man shouted at the door. The black-clothed man entered the VIP room again, bowed and said, Pavilion Master, what are your orders? Take this and auction it off. The purple-clothed man threw the bamboo scroll over. Be quick, Qin Feiyong added. Li Si caught the bamboo scroll, looked at Qin Feiyong thoughtfully, then turned and strode away. Brother Haoyin, you're even willing to auction off a superior martial arts technique. It seems that your family background is not simple. The purple-clothed man laughed. Can you stop trying to get information out of me? Qin Feiyong felt helpless. When dealing with this kind of person, he had to be on guard at all times. Otherwise, if he was not careful, he would fall into a trap. Okay. I won't ask anything. Come, have some tea. The purple-clothed man chuckled. This young man was quite alert. Jiang, get the hell out here. About half an hour later, an angry shout suddenly came from outside. The purple-clothed man's hand that was holding the teacup paused slightly, and then calmly drank the tea while watching Qin Feiyong's reaction. However, Qin Feiyong sat there calmly, as if he did not hear anything. Brother Haoyin, there seems to be someone outside calling you? The purple-clothed man could not help but remind him. There are dogs everywhere in Black Bear City. If I have to go out to take a look every time they call, then I'll be busy to death. Qin Feiyong said indifferently. The purple-clothed man was stunned. Jiang, weren't you very arrogant just now? Why are you hiding inside and not daring to come out? Let me tell you, don't think that you'll be fine if you hide. I'll block the door today. If you have the guts, don't come out for the rest of your life. Mu Fei and Jiang Wei stood outside, hooting without restraint. Behind them, there was a burly man standing there. They all had a fierce look, with their hands crossed in front of their chest and their eyes full of contempt. Even the martial ancestor of the family is here. It seems that the two of them are serious this time. There will be a good show to watch. The pedestrians on the street and the customers of the treasure pavilion all gathered around and discussed. A moment later, dong dong, there was a knock on the door. Come in, the purple-clothed man said. The black-clothed man pushed the door and walked into the room. He held a chinkuan bag in his hand and handed it to the purple-clothed man. The bamboo scroll has been auctioned. The gold coins are inside. Give it to him. The purple-clothed man pointed at Qin Feiyong with his mouth. The black-clothed man walked in front of Qin Feiyong and smiled. Young Master Jiang, here are 100,000 gold coins. Please check it. So much. Qin Feiyong was shocked. The black-clothed man said, the total price was 110,000 gold coins. But we have to take a commission. 110,000 gold coins. You only take 10,000 gold coins as commission. That's too much. Qin Feiyong could not help but feel the pain. Actually, he knew about the commission system of the treasure pavilion. They took 1/10 of the total price. That was to say, 100,000 gold coins meant 10,000 commission. Originally, 110,000 gold coins meant 11,000 commission. The treasure pavilion had already given him a discount and took 1,000 less. But now, what he lacked most was gold coins. Not to mention 10,000 gold coins. Even if it was 100 gold coins, he would feel distressed. The purple-clothed man looked at him and said impatiently, Okay, don't complain. If you change it now, I'll give you the market price. Qin Feiyong said, That's all right. Give me all of them. All of them. The purple-clothed man was stunned and smiled bitterly. It seems that my treasure pavilion's gathering chi pills will be bought by you sooner or later. He looked at the black-clothed man again and said, Go and change it for him. Yes. The black-clothed man bowed and retreated. Knock, knock. But then, there was another knock on the door. Who is it? The purple-clothed man asked. The door was pushed open. Two middle-aged men came in one after the other. The purple-clothed man was slightly stunned. He looked at Qin Feiyong with deep meaning. He got up and greeted them with a smile. Mu Jia's lord, Jiang Jia's lord, what wind blew you here today? Lord. Qin Feiyong's heart trembled. The purple-clothed man reminded him that the two men in front of him are the lord of Jiangjia and the lord of Mujia. Jiang Jia's lord smiled. Brother Pei, this time we came here shamelessly because we want to ask you for a favor. Mu Jia's lord looked at Qin Feiyong and whispered, Brother Pei, is it convenient to talk now? The purple-clothed man said, Of course it's convenient. Brother Haoyin is not an outsider. Both of them showed a trace of surprise in their eyes. Then they nodded politely to Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong also smiled. Jiang Jia's lord looked at the purple-clothed man and said, Brother Pei, I don't know if you have a copy of the martial arts you just sold? If so, we're willing to buy it at a high price. Mu Jia's lord nodded. However, the purple-clothed man's face darkened. He said in a low voice, Brother Mu, Brother Jiang, you know the rules of our precious treasure pavilion. We will never copy martial skills behind the owner's back. You're asking too much. Chapter 49. On the surface, the man's words seem to be condemning the two, but in fact, he's talking to Qin Feiyong. He doesn't want Qin Feiyong to misunderstand that the treasure pavilion has a private copy of martial arts, so as not to affect their relationship. At the same time, Qin Feiyong also secretly breathed a sigh of relief. He thought that Lord Mu and Lord Jiang came to trouble him, but it turned out that they just came to buy martial arts, which is a good opportunity to make money. At this time, Li Si walked into the room and saw the atmosphere of the scene. Something is wrong. He handed the chinkuan bag to Qin Feiyong and stood silently. Qin Feiyong counted the items and put away the chinkuan bag. He got up and smiled. Mu Ji is Lord, Jiang Ji is Lord, that martial skill is mine. If you really want it, then arrange the auction price. 110,000 gold coins. Yours? Really? The two were surprised. No wonder they're suspicious. It's because Qin Feiyang looks too weak. How can such a person have a martial arts skill? However, the man in purple frowned. His displeasure was obviously written on his face. Qin Feiyang smiled. Of course, if you accept this price, I'll copy it for you now. Good. I'll give you 110,000 gold coins right away. The two each took out a chinquin bag and put it on the tea table. Obviously, they came prepared. Qin Feiyang said, Pavilion Lord, I'll borrow your brush, ink, and bamboo slip.
Yes.
The man in purple nodded blankly. Qin Feiyang didn't see it. He went straight to the desk, opened a blank bamboo slip, picked up the brush and concentrated on copying. This kid really doesn't know what's polite. The man in purple snorted. He looked at the two and asked, Weren't you at the auction? Lord Jiang said, I received the news after the auction was over. Me too. Lord Mu nodded. Fortunately, the owner of the martial arts skill is still there, otherwise, this trip would be in vain. The purple-clothed man looked at the black-clothed man and asked, Li Si, who was the one who took it? The man in black replied respectfully, Pavilion Master, it's the Ling family. The purple-clothed man suddenly understood. A moment later, Qin Feiyang finally managed to copy it. As soon as he stopped writing, the Mu Jia's lord hurriedly ran up and scanned the text on the bamboo slip. Their eyes gradually lit up. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, That's enough. Take it. Thank you. The two of them cupped their hands and thanked him. Then, each of them grabbed a bamboo slip and left in a hurry. Strange. Qin Feiyang looked at Patriarch Zhang's back, his heart full of doubts. He looked at the purple-clothed man and asked, Pavilion Master, don't the big families of Black Bear City have perfect martial skills? Humph. The purple-clothed man snorted and returned to his seat, ignoring Qin Feiyang. Qin Feiyang froze for a moment, then shook his head and laughed. He walked to the tea table and grabbed a chinquin bag. After a little counting, he took out 20,000 gold coins and piled them on the ground. He smiled and said, Pavilion Master, this is the commission. Please accept it. Seeing this, the purple-clothed man smiled. This kid is quite sensible. After all, this is Treasure Pavilion. Qin Feiyang and the Mu Jia's lord made a private deal in front of him. It's disrespectful to him and Treasure Pavilion. In fact, to put it bluntly, Treasure Pavilion will earn less commission. This is what the purple-clothed man was dissatisfied with. But as long as Qin Feiyang takes out the commission, it's a different story. Ahem. The purple-clothed man coughed. Li Si understood and hurriedly put away the 20,000 gold coins. The purple-clothed man smiled and said, Brother Haoyan, we're all on the same side. Why are you so polite? Qin Feiyang said, Since you're not polite, then give it back to me. The smile on the purple-clothed man's face stiffened. He coughed and said, Black Bear City is just a small city. Perfect martial arts are rare even in large cities. How can the families here have it? There's only one kind of martial arts in their family. Qin Feiyang frowned. Ling family and Mu Jia don't have it. But the Zhang family has the support of the Pavilion Master. How can they not have it? The purple-clothed man hesitated for a moment and shook his head. Although the Pavilion Master is a member of the Zhang family, there are various subtle relationships. In short, these things are not something you and I are qualified to discuss. Subtle? Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed. The relationship between Luo Qingzhu's family is really confusing. In this case, it also makes sense. There are three big families in Black Bear City. They are the Zhang family, the Mu family, and the Ling family. The three big families fight openly and secretly. They are like fire and water. But because their strength is not much different, they can't suppress the other two and take the lead. This time, the Ling family got the bull fist and mastered two kinds of superior martial arts. Their overall strength will undoubtedly double. The Zhang family and the Mu family naturally can't sit still and hurried to the treasure pavilion to buy the bull fist. This way, they won't be pulled apart by the Ling family. Thinking this through, Qin Feiyong was filled with emotions. He never thought that the martial arts that he looked down on before could change the situation of Black Bear City. It can be seen how big the gap between the Yin County and the capital is. He didn't continue to stay. Qin Feiyong said goodbye and walked out of the VIP room and went to the first floor. This trip was very worth it. First of all, he made a lot of money. In addition to the hundreds of thousands of qi gathering pills, he also had an extra 200,000 gold coins. Secondly, he learned that the value of the martial arts was far beyond his initial estimate. He thought that the superior martial arts would at most be sold for tens of thousands of gold coins. The result was that it was sold for 110,000 gold coins. If it was a perfect martial arts, wouldn't it be sold for millions, or even more? Mountains and rivers, there is no road, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Now he no longer has to worry about the gold coins. Outside, Jiang Wei and Mu Fei were still shouting. The Jiang family head and the Mu family head also didn't leave. After asking the two for the reason, they were furious on the spot, even daring to bully their son. This Jiang guy really doesn't have eyes. Father, he came out. Father, it's him. He almost killed me. Jiang Wei and Mu Fei suddenly pointed to the door of the treasure pavilion. A strong, cold light flashed in their eyes. How could it be him? The Jiang family head and Mu Fei looked and their eyes suddenly widened. Just now in the VIP room, the man in purple only said Brother Haoyin and didn't mention Qin Feiyong's surname. Li Si also didn't. Jiang Wei and Mu Fei only knew that the person who bullied them was surnamed Jiang. Therefore, it wasn't until now that the Mu family head and Mu Fei knew that this Jiang guy was the one who sold them the martial arts. Father, you must teach him a good lesson. Yes, this kind of person. If you don't give him a taste of bitterness, he won't know his own weight. Jiang Wei and Mu Fei didn't notice the abnormality in their father's expression at all. They proudly looked at Qin Feiyong, as if to say, "Boy, you're so arrogant, now you're dead." Qin Feiyong walked out of the treasure pavilion and stood on top of the steps. He looked at the two patriarchs and frowned. Two patriarchs? What do you mean by this? Jiang family head asked. May I ask little brother's name? Jiang Haoyin. Qin Feiyong said. It's really the same person. Mu family head and Jiang family head looked at each other. Their faces were a bit embarrassed. Mu family head said, Little brother, may I ask, how did you and my son get into a conflict? I just accidentally bumped into Mu Fei, and he broke out and scolded me. He also threatened to kill me. As for Jiang Wei, he came with a group of servants. When he heard that I was Luo Qingzhu's friend, he ordered the servants to beat me to death. Two lords, I just want to ask, in broad daylight, they are so arrogant. Is there any law in Black Bear City? Qin Feiyong looked at the two lords, his tone aggressive. Jiang Wei angrily said, Fart, obviously, you said you're my father, so I ordered the servants to beat you. Jiang family head's eyes were cold. Jiang family head, I didn't say that, it was Mu Fei who said it. At that time, I denied it. If you don't believe me, you can ask everyone. Qin Feiyong pointed to the crowd around him. Seeing his self-righteous look, the people around him tried to stifle a smile on their faces. Jiang family head flew into a rage. The spearhead suddenly pointed at Mu Jia's lord. He shouted, This is your good son? If you really don't have the ability, just tell me, I'll help you teach him. Mu Jia's lord sneered. Jiang old dog, your son is not a good thing. What qualifications do you have to talk about me? Old thief Mu, say it again. What can you do if I say it? Okay, you have guts, in a month's big hunting game. I'll make your Mu Jia look good. Don't be complacent. It's still unknown who will look good. Mu Fei, come back with me. Jiang Wei, come home with me. The two lords quarreled, yelled at Jiang Wei and Mu Fei, then turned and left angrily. Jiang Wei and Mu Fei stood there stupidly. What's going on? Aren't they looking for Jiang Haoyin to settle accounts? How come these two old guys are quarreling first? Not only did they quarrel, but they also left? What are you still doing? Believe it or not, I'll kill you on the street. The two lords glared at Jiang Wei and Mu Fei. The two didn't dare to stay any longer. They hurriedly followed. The two martial ancestor realm experts they brought with them didn't dare to have any objections. They quickly turned and chased after them. Qin Feiyong was stunned. The crowd around them also didn't recover for a long time. That's it? They clearly said that they would teach Jiang Haoyin a lesson. They were all waiting to watch a good show, but the result was nothing. Isn't this too funny? Everyone looked at Qin Feiyang. In a few words, he diverted the fire of war, making the two lords fight each other. But he, the source of the disaster, was completely ignored. How can this kid's head be so smart? Jiang Haoyin. Chapter 50. Facing everyone's praises, Qin Feiyang didn't feel complacent at all. Because he knew very well that the Mu clan's patriarch and Jiang clan's patriarch had nothing to do with him. The two clans had been fighting openly and secretly for many years, and their grudges were deep. Today's incident was just a fuse that let the two clans' patriarchs find a way to vent their hatred and anger. So, this had nothing to do with whether he was smart or not. After asking around about the location of the pill hall, he left in big strides. Although he didn't lack gold coins now, he still wanted to test whether his mental strength was qualified or not. After all, auctioning martial skills wasn't a long-term plan. Alchemy was the real way out. The pill hall was located in the East City district, covering an area of about 1,000 feet. There were many halls, and it was extraordinary. The pill hall here also had a stone staircase. Actually, the purpose of the stone staircase was to stop mortals. After all, in a small city like Black Bear City, most of the people were mortals. If they all went to participate in the test, wouldn't the pill hall be busy? So, the pill hall thought of a way to use 999 stone staircases as the first test to let the mortals know how difficult it was and retreat. If someone really climbed to the top with a mortal body, then even if he didn't have the talent for alchemy, he was still a cultivation genius worth cultivating. It was summer. On the long stone staircase, there were many people climbing. They were all mortals with dreams. As long as they reached the top, they could be reborn and soar to the sky. Unfortunately, the reality was cruel. Many people were already tired before they reached the middle of the mountain. Only a martial artist would have hope. Qin Feiyang walked as if he was flying, passing one person after another. Under countless envious gazes, he quickly reached the top. There was an old man in white sitting cross-legged at the top. Sensing someone coming up, he opened his eyes and looked at Qin Feiyang for a while. He asked, "You are Jiang Haoyin?" "Yes, I am." Qin Feiyang nodded. The old man in white said, "Young man, you are very good. But here, you have to lower your status. Because if you want to become an alchemist, it's not enough to have brains." "I understand." Qin Feiyang cupped his hands and said, "Come with me." The white-robed old man stood up and pushed open the door of the main hall. He called out to Qin Feiyang and strode in. Outside the palace was a dazzling sight. However, the decorations inside the palace were very simple. Other than a few chairs, there was only an altar. There was a crystal placed on the stage. It was about the size of a palm and had distinct edges. Sunlight shone down from the transparent tiles on the ceiling, giving it a glaring luster. The old man in white stood beside the altar and looked at Qin Feiyang. "Place your hand on the crystal stone. Don't use your true qi, and don't use too much strength. Just close your eyes and meditate. The crystal stone will automatically absorb your spiritual power." "All right." Qin Feiyang nodded and pressed his hand on the crystal. A cold feeling immediately came from his palm. Immediately after, he closed his eyes, his heart as still as water, and entered the state of meditation. Gradually, the crystal emitted rays of light. But this was very common. Even if a mortal pressed their hand on it, the crystal would glow. That was because everyone had spiritual power. The only difference was how strong or weak they were. About 10 breaths passed. Buzz. The crystal stone suddenly trembled and emitted a strong light. Level 1 spiritual power. The old man in white focused his gaze and began to look forward to it. In fact, a level 1 spiritual power was already qualified to refine pills. But the achievements were limited. But now, the light of the crystal stone was still getting stronger. It was enough to show that this kid's spiritual power was not just level 1. Buzz. Another 10 breaths passed. The crystal stone trembled again, and the light was even stronger than before. Level 2 spiritual power. The old man in white's eyes lit up and he was looking forward to it. Buzz. Soon, the crystal stone trembled for the third time, and the light was even stronger. Not bad, not bad. The old man in white nodded. But not long after, the crystal stone trembled again. This was the fourth time. The old man in white could no longer calm down. His old eyes were shining. There were only a dozen people who had level 4 spiritual power in the entire Black Bear City Pill Hall. But in terms of spiritual power, this kid was already considered one of the best. Hua. Before he finished his thought, the crystal stone trembled again, and the blazing light shone on the entire palace. Level 5 spiritual power. The old man in white trembled and clenched his fists. His eyes were burning with passion. Could it be that he had met an alchemy genius this time? It has already trembled 5 times. Qin Feiyang was also very excited. Although he closed his eyes, he could feel it clearly. He knew a little about the spiritual power test. The more the crystal stone trembled, the brighter the light. This meant that the strength of the spiritual power was higher. Never in his wildest dreams would he have thought that his spiritual power could actually reach level 5. More importantly, he didn't feel the slightest bit of exhaustion. In other words, the strength of his spiritual power was far more than that. The crystal stone continued to absorb his spiritual power. Swoosh. Soon, the crystal stone trembled for the 6th time. Level 6 spiritual power. The old man in white trembled and muttered. In the Black Bear City Pill Hall, only one person has reached level 6 spiritual power. It seems that I have really encountered a treasure this time. He hurriedly closed the door and returned to Qin Feiyang's side. He stared at the crystal stone. Buzz. The 7th tremor happened. The old man in white's heart almost jumped out of his chest. Level 7 spiritual power. Even in Yin City, he was one of the best. This is a treasure. I have to inform the hall master quickly. He suppressed the excitement in his heart and took out a crystal the size of an egg. As he inserted his true qi, a ray of light rushed out. After a while, a virtual shadow appeared. It was a middle-aged man. He was 7 feet tall. His eyebrows were sharp like swords. There were spots of white hair at his temples. He had experienced a lot and had a domineering aura. His name was Luo Xiong. He was the hall master of the Black Bear City Pill Hall. Luo Xiong asked, "Old Feng, why are you looking for me?" The old man in white said hurriedly, "Come to the testing hall immediately." "What for?" Luo Xiong was puzzled. "Don't talk nonsense. Hurry up." After the old man in white finished speaking, he waved his hand and the virtual shadow quickly disappeared. Buzz buzz. At this moment, the crystal stone trembled for the 8th time. The light that bloomed made it almost impossible for people to open their eyes. Level 8 spiritual power. How is this possible? Even in the entire Yin County, there is only one person like this. The old man in white went completely crazy. He even wanted to hug Qin Feiyang in his arms and give him a few kisses. At the same time, Qin Feiyang's heart couldn't calm down. Level 8 spiritual power. Even in the capital, he was a genius in alchemy. What excited him the most was that until now, his spiritual power didn't show any signs of exhaustion. This meant that the strength of his spiritual power was more than level 8. No, I don't plan to enter the pill hall yet. I can't continue like this. Otherwise, I will definitely be entangled by the people from the pill hall. At this point, Qin Feiyang's body shook violently. He pretended that his spiritual power was exhausted. He retracted his hand and held his head. He looked dispirited. However, just as he retracted his hand, the crystal stone trembled again. Damn! Qin Feiyang cursed in his heart. Was there anyone who teased him like this? He had already retracted his hand. He actually did it again. He couldn't even keep a low profile. He looked at the old man in white. As expected, the expression of the old man in white was extremely exaggerated. His 2 eyeballs almost popped out. This kid actually had level 9 spiritual power. Unbelievable. It was really unbelievable. Let's take this chance to retreat. Qin Feiyang turned around quietly and sneaked towards the door. Stop. But at this moment, the old man in white suddenly roared. He turned around and looked at him. His old eyes shone brightly. Qin Feiyang's body stiffened. He immediately knew that something was wrong. This old man definitely wouldn't let him go easily today. Cough, cough. Qin Feiyang coughed dryly and said with a smile, "Senior, there must be something wrong with the crystal stone. So, please don't take what you saw just now seriously. I'll take my leave." After that, he rushed towards the door angrily as if he was running for his life. Creak. But suddenly, the door was pushed open. Luo Xiong stood outside the door. Seeing Qin Feiyang rushing towards him, he frowned. "You came just in time." Qin Feiyang was overjoyed. He stepped out of the door and was about to escape. "Temple Master, stop him." But at this moment, the old man in white suddenly shouted, "Umph!" Luo Xiong snorted coldly and grabbed Qin Feiyang's clothes with a backhand. Then, he threw Qin Feiyang into the main hall. Qin Feiyang rolled in front of the white-clothed old man like a ball. Luo Xiong followed him into the hall and closed the door. He looked at Qin Feiyang unkindly and was about to ask the old man in white about the situation. "Temple Master, I only asked you to stop him. I didn't ask you to throw him." But the old man in white stared at him angrily. He hurriedly helped Qin Feiyang up and said with concern, "Little brother, are you all right? Our temple master has a bad temper. Don't argue with him." "What?" Luo Xiong was stunned. His face was filled with confusion. I'm fine. Qin Feiyang waved his hand and said with a smile. He hurriedly said, "Senior, I still have something to do. Can you let me?" "No." Without waiting for him to finish his words, the old man in white shook his head decisively and said seriously, "You have level 9 mental power. Only by entering the pill hall will your talent not be wasted." Level 9 mental power? Luo Xiong was shocked. Qin Feiyang looked at Luo Xiong and felt bitter. He said to the old man in white, "Senior, I already said that there must be something wrong with the crystal. If you don't believe me, we can try again." The old man in white frowned. He really couldn't understand why this kid would deny his talent. He pondered for a while. He nodded and said, "All right, I will satisfy you. Change to another crystal and try again. But if you really have level 9 mental power, you must stay in the pill hall." Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded like he was pounding garlic. The old man in white took out a brand new crystal from his chinkuan pouch and signaled Qin Feiyang to press it. After Qin Feiyang pressed his hand on it, the crystal trembled. Qin Feiyang secretly laughed. He immediately retracted his hand and rubbed his head. He shook his head and said, "Io, senior, I can't take it anymore. My head is dizzy." What? The old man in white was shocked. Could it be that there was something wrong with the crystal? "Senior, can I leave now?" Qin Feiyang asked. The old man in white was still confused. He instinctively nodded. Immediately. Chapter 51. Inside the hall, the old man in white looked at the crystal in his hand. Was there something wrong with the crystal? It shouldn't be. He walked to the front of the altar with a head full of doubts. He stretched out his old hand and pressed it on the crystal. Then, he closed his eyes and meditated. Buzz! The crystal trembled again and again. A total of 3 times. "I have level 3 mental power. There's nothing wrong with the crystal." Suddenly, he opened his eyes. His doubts disappeared and were replaced by anger. His old face twitched as well. Since there was nothing wrong with the crystal, it could only mean that he was cheated by that kid. "Brat, I'm not done with you today." He gritted his teeth and ran to the door angrily. "Old Feng, what happened?" Luo Xiong grabbed him with a confused face. "That kid has level 9 mental power." The old man in white pushed him away and ran out of the hall without looking back. What? Luo Xiong was stunned. When he first came, he thought that Qin Feiyang did something stupid and offended the old man in front of him. That was why he treated Qin Feiyang so rudely. When he heard the old man say that he had level 9 mental power, he thought it was a joke. He didn't expect it to be true. Luo Xiong quickly chased after the old man and pulled him back. He said seriously, "Old Feng, you can't joke about this. Tell me seriously now. Does he really have level 9 mental power?" "I'll tell you responsibly. He does have level 9 mental power," the old man in white said. Luo Xiong's body shook. His eyes shone brightly. He said in a low voice, "Old Feng, no matter what, you have to let him join the pill hall. Also, only you and I can know about this. We can't let a third person know. Cut the crap. If you don't chase after him, he'll run away." The old man in white looked down and was extremely anxious. Wherever he looked, Qin Feiyang ran towards the street as if he was running for his life. "Don't worry. He can't run away. Zhang Haoyan, stop right there." With a loud roar, Luo Xiong leaped from the peak and landed steadily on the ground. Qin Feiyang's complexion slightly changed. He hastily rushed into the crowd. What happened? When the pedestrians saw this, they were all at a loss. "You're still running." Luo Xiong's face was dark as he said angrily, "Whoever can stop him, I will reward 10,000 qi amassing pills." As soon as he said this, the entire street instantly boiled over. "Go! Stop him!" The passers-by who had been watching the fun rushed toward Qin Feiyang as if they had been injected with chicken blood. "Is there a need to do this?" Qin Feiyang smiled bitterly. Using the shifting smoke steps, he dodged again and again as if there was no one around. "This brat is so slippery. Let's stand in a row. Don't let him slip away." More than a dozen people held hands and stood in front of him. "Little guy, let's see how you're going to run this time." When Luo Xiong saw this, he couldn't help but sneer. Qin Feiyang glanced at the dozen or so people, then turned back to look at the rapidly approaching Luo Xiong. Frowning slightly, he stomped on the ground with all his might and jumped directly onto the roof of a nearby building. Then, without looking back, he left. "Kid, don't run." Luo Xiong's expression changed. His battle chi gushed out, and he quickly rushed to the roof. However, he couldn't find Qin Feiyang's shadow even though he looked around. "Can this brat fly?" Luo Xiong frowned. The white-clothed old man ran over, raised his head and asked, "Palace Master, where is he?" Luo Xiong carefully looked around again. He jumped down from the roof and landed in front of the white-clothed old man. He shook his head and said, "That brat is too slippery. I can't see him anymore. You're a one-star combat emperor. How could you lose him? You're really useless." The white-clothed old man pointed at Luo Xiong's nose. He was so angry that his body was trembling. "Old Feng, I'm still the palace master of the Dan Palace. Don't you know how to behave when you talk to me like this?" Luo Xiong's eyes were filled with displeasure and embarrassment. "I don't care. If I can't find him today, I won't let you off." After the white-clothed old man finished speaking, he entered a small alley and started searching alone. "Sigh, my head hurts." Luo Xiong rubbed his forehead. He glanced at the crowd and said loudly, "I'll increase the price now. Whoever can find Zhang Haoyan will be rewarded 20,000 gold coins." 100,000. This Zhang Haoyan, what kind of heinous thing did he do in the Dan Palace? Who cares? That's 100,000 gold coins. I must find him. The crowd dispersed in an uproar, and with excitement, they searched the entire city. The Imperial Palace's bounty is 10,000 gold coins, but the Dan Palace's bounty is 20,000 gold coins. This Dan Palace has better foresight than the Imperial Palace. Brother Wolf, don't you think so? Qin Feiyang was hiding in the ancient castle. He looked at Wolf King and laughed. Wolf King grinned. He seemed to agree with what Qin Feiyang said. "Oh right." Qin Feiyang patted his head and took out the beast spirit pill. He passed it to Wolf King and said with a smile, "Brother Wolf, I'll keep my word. This beast spirit pill is for you." Wolf King's eyes lit up. He stuck out his tongue and sucked the beast spirit pill into his mouth. Qin Feiyang held his breath and looked forward to it. Buzz. Suddenly, the Wolf King's body emitted rays of dazzling white light. But soon, the light faded away. "I can finally talk." The next moment, a rather excited voice sounded in Qin Feiyang's mind. But why was this voice a bit strange? Qin Feiyang frowned and asked Wolf King, "Are you talking to me?" "Nonsense. Other than Brother Wolf, is there anyone else here?" Wolf King rolled his eyes. "Haha." Qin Feiyang looked at Wolf King in a daze. Suddenly, he raised his head and laughed. He thought that Wolf King's voice would be full of vigor and fierceness. But the result was far beyond his expectations. Not only did it not have any fierceness, but it also sounded young. It was like the voice of a 7 or 8-year-old boy. It was completely incompatible with its ferocious appearance. It also completely subverted the image of Wolf King in his mind. Think about it. To put a child's voice on an adult's body, how funny, how different would that be? Seeing this, Wolf King's veins bulged, his face darkened, and he said, "Shut up, if you laugh again. I'll get angry. You can't blame me for this. Look, your appearance is quite fierce. Even children will be scared to tears by you. But your voice, why is it so funny? Could it be that there's a problem with the beast spirit pill?" Haha, Qin Feiyang laughed so hard that he couldn't stop at all. Ew. Wolf King couldn't take it anymore and bit Qin Feiyang's arm. "You're serious?" Qin Feiyang's expression changed, and he hurriedly dodged. Then continue laughing. The Wolf King stared at him sneakily. "I won't laugh, I won't laugh." Qin Feiyang waved his hand again and again, but his face was red. Wolf King rolled his eyes at him and sighed. "A long time ago, Brother Wolf wanted a beast spirit pill, but as a handsome and mighty wolf, I really didn't dare to break into your human town. Little Qinzi, thank you." Qin Feiyang's face twitched. It seemed that the words handsome and mighty had nothing to do with a wolf, right? Wolf King stood up, patted Qin Feiyang's shoulder, and said with a smile, "Little Qinzi, in order to repay you, Brother Wolf will protect you from now on." And Qin Feiyang nodded. But the next moment, he reacted and said angrily, "What do you mean? Do I need your protection? Also, don't call me Little Qinzi. From your voice, I can tell that I'm older than you. You should call me brother, understand? TCH, who do you think you are? When Brother Wolf roamed the mountains and forests, you were still wearing diapers." Wolf King was disdainful. Shameless. Qin Feiyang was disdainful. According to his estimation, Wolf King had been born for at most 8 years. In other words, when he became famous in the imperial capital, Wolf King was not even born yet. Ow. The Wolf King didn't say anything and took another bite. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Ow. Wolf Cub, let go. Ow. If you don't let go, Brother Wolf will beat you. Ow. I'm warning you, don't go too far. Ow. Damn it, you white-eyed wolf. If a tiger doesn't show its power, do you think I'm a sick cat? Take this. The man and the wolf bickered for a while, then began to cultivate separately. Outside, there was already an uproar. Luo Xiong's 20,000 bounty for Qin Feiyang was already known by everyone. The people of Black Bear City were all looking for his whereabouts as if they had gone crazy. The restaurant he was staying in was also found very quickly. After the white-clothed old man heard the news, he had been waiting there, waiting for him. That afternoon, Luo Xiong increased the bounty again, 30,000. The next day, he increased the bounty again, 40,000. In the end, Luo Xiong put a bounty of 100,000 gold coins. This time, even the 3 big families were alarmed. Mu Fei and Jiang Wei even personally led the martial ancestor experts and their families to search for him. They thought that Qin Feiyang had offended the Pill Palace, which was why Luo Xiong put a bounty on him. Therefore, this was a good opportunity for revenge. However, after a month, no one found any trace of Qin Feiyang. It was as if he had disappeared from the face of the earth. In the ancient castle, Qin Feiyang's fingers paused. At the same time, suddenly, a beam of dazzling light shot out from the book. After a month of painstaking copying and consuming a total of 8,000 qi-gathering pills, Qin Feiyang finally copied the 3rd stroke. His cultivation realm also increased to a 4-star martial master. He retracted his arm. Looking at the word return on the iron book, his eyes were full of expectation. There were 3 strokes left. After he copied it, he would be able to truly master the return formula, giving him a taste of his own medicine. When he thought of the terrifying power of the return formula, he couldn't help but be excited. Phew! After letting out a long breath, he closed the iron book, lowered his head, and frowned slightly. If he remembered correctly, when he was outside the treasure pavilion, Patriarch Jiang and Patriarch Mu mentioned the 4 words big hunting competition. At that time, from their tone, it seemed that this big hunting competition had a special meaning. Seeing that Wolf King was still cultivating, he directly left the ancient castle and appeared on the roof. He lied on the roof, hid himself well, and looked at the surrounding streets. His eyes suddenly had a trace of surprise. At this moment, it was already late in the morning. Usually, at this time, there would be a lot of people on the streets, bustling with noise. Chapter 52. There must be something fishy going on. Qin Feiyang scanned the surroundings and locked his gaze on a certain spot on the left side of the street. There was a muscular man who was hurrying on his way alone. He pulled out pale snow and jumped down, landing on the street. He silently ran behind the brawny man and pressed the tip of pale snow against the brawny man's back. He said in a low voice, "Don't turn your head, don't make a sound, or I'll kill you immediately." The muscular man's body trembled and his face turned pale. Qin Feiyang said, "Answer me. Where are the people from Black Bear City?" The muscular man said, "They all went outside the city." "They all went outside the city?" Qin Feiyang frowned and asked, "Why did they go outside the city?" "Today is the annual big hunting competition, and they all want to join in the fun." The burly man explained in detail. It turned out that the big hunting competition was organized by the Martial Arts Hall, Pill Hall, Precious Treasure Pavilion, and the City Lord Mansion, and it would be held every other year. Therefore, the big hunting competition had basically become a custom in Black Bear City. Similarly, this was also a good opportunity to stand out. If one could perform well in the big hunting competition, he might be valued by the four major forces. Of course, the rewards would definitely be great, but there was a restriction. People above martial ancestor realm could not participate. Only martial masters and martial artists below martial ancestor realm could participate. After understanding the situation, Qin Feiyang did not make things difficult for the muscular man and left secretly. When the muscular man looked back carefully, he had already disappeared without a trace. Outside the city, there was a vast plain. At this moment, there was a sea of people here, cheering like thunder. Below the city wall, there was a wide platform, and there were 15 figures sitting on it. The City Lord, Martial Arts Hall Master, Pill Hall Master, Precious Treasure Pavilion Master, and the four major forces of Black Bear City sat in the front row. The people in the back row were the family heads of the major clans in Black Bear City, led by the Mu clan, Jiang clan, and Ling clan. On both sides of the platform, there were dozens of guards in iron armor, standing straight like poles. Their sharp eyes scanned the surroundings and maintained the order of the scene. Below the platform, there were young people standing neatly. There were both males and females, and they were all hale and hearty, in high spirits. They were the strongest generation in Black Bear City. There were disciples from various large clans and ordinary families, but without exception, they were all martial artists. Although there was no restriction on mortals participating in the big hunting match, the location of the hunt was in the Black Bear Mountain, where fierce beasts roamed. Mortals would definitely die if they entered. Therefore, no mortal would be foolish enough to throw their lives away. After Qin Feiyang left the city, he hid in a big tree in the distance, using the lush branches and leaves to hide his figure, quietly observing. "The city lord has something to say. Please be quiet." Suddenly, one of the guards shouted. The entire place fell silent. A middle-aged man sitting in the front row stood up and walked towards the edge of the platform. Qin Feiyang looked over. That person was 7 feet tall and wore gorgeous clothes. He walked with a majestic gait and his eyes were like torches. He had a dignified aura about him. The annual hunting competition has begun again. Isn't everyone very excited now? Do you want to go to Black Bear Mountain immediately? But everyone should calm down and listen to what the city lord has to say, because this year's reward is much more generous than the previous ones. After the discussion between the city lord, the Martial Arts Hall Master, the Pill Hall Master, and the Precious Treasure Pavilion Master, the first place of this year's competition will be rewarded with 1 million gold coins. The second place will be rewarded with 500,000 gold coins. The third place will be rewarded with 200,000 gold coins. The fourth place to the 10th place will be rewarded with 50,000 gold coins each, and the first place will be rewarded with an additional alchemy fire. Before the city lord finished his words, the people below were already excited. Even Qin Feiyang's heart was burning with excitement. Alchemy fire. 1,000,000 gold coins. What did he lack the most now? Without a doubt, it was gold coins and alchemy fire. Although he had 200,000 gold coins in savings now, there were still many places where he would need gold coins in the future. The most expensive one was the return formula. If it increased by 4 times, the 4th stroke would require 32,000 qi gathering pills, not to mention the 5th and 6th strokes. All of these required money. 200,000 gold coins was far from enough. As for alchemy fire, it was one of the necessary conditions for refining elixirs. But every alchemy fire was very precious. Even the most ordinary alchemy fire was very useful. However, alchemy fire was basically controlled by the pill hall. If one didn't join the pill hall, it would be harder than reaching the heavens to get one. And every alchemy fire that appeared would cause a crazy fight among the strong. With his current strength, how could he win against those people? So, he had to participate in this hunting competition. He had to get his hands on the alchemy fire. After the city lord finished speaking, he returned to his seat and discussed with the 3 giants beside him in a low voice. The city lord has already announced the rewards. Now I will ask again, who else wants to participate in the hunting competition? If there is, please come and register quickly. The guard who spoke first faced the crowd and said loudly, I want to participate. Qin Feiyang shouted without hesitation, then jumped down from the big tree and ran straight to the high platform. It's Zhang Haoyin. He is still in Black Bear City. Everyone's eyes fell on Qin Feiyang in an instant. He is worth 100,000 gold coins. Everyone quickly surround him. Don't let him run away again. In the crowd, someone shouted loudly. Thousands of people suddenly seemed to have taken stimulants and surrounded Qin Feiyang. Damn it! Seeing such a situation, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but swear on the spot. He quickly turned around and ran away. Although alchemy fire and gold coins were important, these people were even more terrifying. Once he was surrounded, it was very likely that he would be chopped into pieces. Everyone stopped. But at this moment, a majestic voice sounded. Luo Xiong stood up and released his aura, covering the whole place. Anyone who was shrouded by this aura felt as if they had fallen into a 10,000-year-old ice cellar. Their whole body was cold, and they instinctively stopped. Qin Feiyang looked back at Luo Xiong, thought carefully, then turned and walked towards the high platform. The crowd automatically separated. Those pairs of fanatical eyes made him feel very uncomfortable. When he passed by Mu Fei's eyes flashed coldly and he whispered, Zhang Haoyin, you actually dare to come out. When we go to Black Bear Mountain, I will be the first to cripple you. Qin Feiyang ignored him. When he passed by Jiang Wei also said meaningfully, a lot of things can change in a month. This time you are dead. Qin Feiyang still didn't pay attention to him. Zhang Haoyin, seeing is better than hearing. You are really different, but the big hunting competition is not playing house. You can lose your life at any time. You have to be careful. When he passed by a purple-clothed youth, such a sentence entered his ears. He stopped slightly and looked at the purple-clothed youth. This person was about 15 or 16 years old. His facial features were exquisite, his skin was snow-white, his eyes and long hair were sky-blue. The overall feeling he gave people was very strange. It could be said that he was better looking than those beautiful women. If there was no Adam's apple, it was believed that many people would mistake him for a woman at first glance. But in that pair of sky-blue eyes, Qin Feiyang caught a wisp of shrewdness. It was enough to explain. This person was not a sissy. Thank you for your reminder. Qin Feiyang smiled, turned and walked down the high platform. He cupped his hands and said, Junior Zhang Haoyin greets seniors. Several people looked at him curiously. Suddenly, the corner of Luo Xiong's mouth lifted, pursing a trace of playfulness, and said proudly, Boy, you are finally willing to come out. Qin Feiyang frowned. He didn't know if it was an illusion, but in Luo Xiong's words, he heard a hint of conspiracy. Luo Xiong didn't continue to talk nonsense. He returned to his seat and ordered the guards on the side to issue tokens. More than a dozen guards took out their chinkuan bags, poured out a large pile of tokens, and piled them on the edge of the high platform. One for each person. Don't fight, one of the guards said expressionlessly. Qin Feiyang stood at the front, the first to get the token, and looked at it carefully. But suddenly, two hands appeared at the same time and pushed him fiercely. Caught off guard, Qin Feiyang crashed into the high platform, and blood spurted out from his nose on the spot. Haven't you heard that a good dog doesn't block the way? Since you got the token, then get out of the way, don't block everyone's way. At the same time, two mocking voices came into his ears. Immediately, Qin Feiyang's heart was filled with a raging anger. He turned around and saw Mu Fei and Jiang Wei with their arms crossed, looking at him mockingly. What, do you still care? Do you want to arouse public indignation before you are satisfied? The two of them didn't hide their sneers. Zhang Haoyan, if you don't get out of the way, don't blame us for throwing you out. The group of teenagers behind them also looked at Qin Feiyang unhappily. Qin Feiyang glanced at these people and silently retreated to the side. However, in the depths of his eyes, there was a trace of cold light. Once or twice, for Luo Qingzhu's sake, he could endure it. But 3 or 4 times, then don't blame him for being ruthless. Next to him, the strange purple-clothed youth glanced at Qin Feiyang and then glanced at Jiang Wei and the others. A hint of ridicule flashed across his eyes as he muttered, "What a bunch of idiots." Half an hour later, everyone who participated in the competition received a token. More than a dozen guards gathered together and bowed their heads for a moment. One of them walked to the front of the 4 giants, bowed and said, "There are a total of 3,200 people participating in this competition. Please give your orders." "Let's begin." Luo Xiong laughed. The guard turned around, glanced at the participants and shouted, "Old rules, 10 days is the limit. Set off immediately. Let's go." The crowd suddenly dispersed and rushed toward the mountain behind them. Qin Feiyang also turned around, mixed in the crowd, and walked toward the mountain, but his eyes were always on the token. The token was the size of a palm, completely black, without half a word or picture, and looked very ordinary. But this token must have some meaning. But what was it? At this time, Chapter 53. Qin Feiyang raised his eyebrows slightly, turned to look at the purple-clothed youth, and said with a smile, "This is indeed my first time participating. When we enter the Black Bear Mountain, I hope that brother will take care of me." The demonic youth said, "It's okay to take care of me, but cooperation is fine. How about it? Consider it." Cooperation? Qin Feiyang's pupils contracted. This person clearly knew that he and Jiang Wei had a grudge, yet he still wanted to cooperate with him. Wasn't he afraid of being hated by Jiang Wei and Jiang Wei? "May I know your name, brother?" Qin Feiyang asked. "Ling Yunfei, Black Bear City's Ling family." The demonic youth said word by word. Qin Feiyang suddenly realized. So it was the Ling family. No wonder he was not afraid of offending Jiang Wei and Jiang Wei. But what made him curious was that when this person said the words Black Bear City, why did he sound like he was gnashing his teeth? At this time, a group of people ran past the two of them, led by a young man of about 20 years old. Seeing Ling Yunfei and Qin Feiyang walking together, he raised his eyebrows slightly and shouted, "Ling Yunfei, hurry up and follow." But there was a trace of disgust in his eyes. Qin Feiyang clearly caught it and became more and more curious. Without thinking, he knew that these people must be Ling Yunfei's clansmen. Ling Yunfei looked at Qin Feiyang, and then looked at the clansman not far away, with a trace of struggle in his eyes. "What are you doing? Hurry up and leave." The two youths shouted impatiently. Ling Yunfei's body trembled slightly. He looked at the clansmen's faces one by one, and could only see contempt and disdain. In the end, he gritted his teeth, looked at the young man in the lead, and shook his head. "Ling Shang, I don't plan to go with you. You can go first." Ling Shang raised his eyebrows and looked at Qin Feiyang thoughtfully. "Up to you." Ling Shang left these words indifferently before leading his clansmen away. This trash really doesn't know how to appreciate favors. Does he think that by being together with Jiang Haoyan, he can find a chance to stand out? Naive. Just wait, Jiang Wei and Mu Fei won't let Jiang Haoyan go. The closer you get to him, the faster you'll die. Who cares? Without him holding us back, our chances of winning will be higher. That's right. We've finally gotten rid of this burden. We should be happy. Ha ha. The undisguised mocking laughter entered Qin Feiyang's ears. He frowned and turned to look at Ling Yunfei. He saw Ling Yunfei clenching his fists and staring at his clansmen who were gradually disappearing into the distance. His sky-blue eyes were filled with endless fury. Looks like he's also a person with a story, Qin Feiyang inwardly cursed. After a brief consideration, he patted Ling Yunfei's shoulder and smiled. I agree to cooperate with you. What? Ling Yunfei's gaze trembled as he looked at Qin Feiyang in disbelief. He thought that Qin Feiyang would refuse to cooperate with him after hearing those words. After all, who would be willing to cooperate with someone who others called trash? However, he did not expect the other party to agree. Qin Feiyang smiled. Let's go. By the way, tell me about the rules of the competition and the use of this token. Ling Yunfei chased after him hurriedly. You're not going to ask about my strength? Why should I? Qin Feiyang asked instead. If you don't ask, how would you know if I'll implicate you? Ling Yunfei frowned. Then tell me, will you implicate me? Qin Feiyang asked. No. Ling Yunfei shook his head as a trace of arrogance crept up between his brows. That's right. Qin Feiyang smiled, but he was puzzled. He was very familiar with the arrogance shown by this person because it was very similar to him. This kind of arrogance was innate. But why did this person hide it? Hearing such a straightforward answer, Ling Yunfei was also a little surprised. He shook his head and said, You're really strange. Aren't you the same? Qin Feiyang smiled. Me? Ling Yunfei laughed at himself, sorted out his mood, and explained. The token in your hand is a life-saving talisman. If you encounter any irreversible danger, just crush it. Soon, a guard will come to save you. I see. Qin Feiyang muttered, played with it curiously for a while, and asked, If the token is broken, does it mean that the competition is over? Yes. Losing the token is equivalent to losing the qualification to continue the competition. Ling Yunfei nodded. If the token is snatched by someone else, how will it be judged? Qin Feiyang said, It doesn't matter, as long as you go and snatch another one. But if the other party has already crushed the token and given up the competition, and you still kill him, the guard will kill you on the spot. Ling Yunfei said meaningfully. Then don't give them the chance to crush the token. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. That makes sense. Ling Yunfei smiled. This person was more domineering than he imagined. It seemed that cooperating with him was the right choice. Half an hour later, the contestants had already entered the mountain range. Qin Feiyang also came to the bottom of the mountain range, looking at the endless mountains and rivers. The sleeping blood in his body was gradually awakening. Sure enough, fighting is what I want the most. Only by fighting continuously can I continue to become stronger. A moment ago, he was still like a docile sheep, but the next moment, he seemed to have become an awakened lion, exuding a shocking aura. Let's go. With a wave of his hand, he rushed into the forest with extreme speed. Ling Yunfei's face turned cold and quickly followed. You can actually catch up with me? Qin Feiyang was surprised. His current speed was not reserved at all. Could it be that Ling Yunfei was also a 4-star martial master? Interesting. The corner of his mouth lifted slightly. He stepped out with Luo Yin steps, and his speed increased by 4 times in an instant. So fast. Ling Yunfei's pupils contracted behind him. He tried his best to catch up, but instead of closing the distance, he got farther and farther away. A river flowed in the mountain forest. Qin Feiyang stood on the shore, looking at the rushing river, his eyes shining. Ling Yunfei was indeed a 4-star martial master. Looking at his age, he was at most 15 or 16 years old. His talent was stronger than Lin Bailey's. But why was he labeled as trash by the other people in the Ling family? After a long while, Ling Yunfei caught up with him, panting, and said helplessly, Can you slow down? I can't catch up with you at this speed. Qin Feiyang turned around and was about to speak. Dong! Splash! But at this moment, the river exploded with a loud sound. An anaconda rushed out of the water. It was as thick as a wash basin and set off huge waves several meters high. Its venomous fangs were eerie, and it bit towards Qin Feiyang. The pungent smell was nauseating. Be careful. Ling Yunfei's face changed. He pushed Qin Feiyang away, and then with a bang, punched the anaconda's chin. However, the result was that Ling Yunfei spat out a mouthful of blood and was sent flying. But the anaconda only shook its body a few times, and then suddenly jumped out of the water and went straight towards Ling Yunfei. Those long and narrow eyes were filled with a bone-piercing coldness. Bastard, die! After Ling Yunfei stabilized his body, he roared, dodged a few times, and rushed to the front of the anaconda. True Qi gushed out, and he raised his fist and punched the anaconda's 7 inches. Crack! The snake's scales at the 7 inches were shattered on the spot. The anaconda wailed and smashed into the river, splashing up huge waves several feet high. Phew! Ling Yunfei took a few deep breaths, walked to Qin Feiyang's side, and said solemnly, "A martial master-level beast is difficult to deal with. Zhang Haoyan, although this is only the periphery of the Black Bear Mountain, there are still many beasts and water beasts. You must be careful." However, Qin Feiyang did not seem to hear, and looked at the back of Ling Yunfei's hand without blinking. The entire back of the hand was bleeding profusely. Ling Yunfei thought that Qin Feiyang was worried, and said with a smile, "This is just a small injury, it doesn't matter." Qin Feiyang said, "In that situation, you should have used martial arts. If you used martial arts, you wouldn't have been injured." Martial arts. Ling Yunfei's body stiffened, and he shook his head. "I don't have any martial arts? How is that possible?" Qin Feiyang frowned. As a disciple of the Ling family, he actually didn't have any martial arts. Wasn't this a joke? "I really don't have any." Ling Yunfei shook his head. He leaped and jumped to the other side of the river. Obviously, he did not want to dwell on this issue. Dong! But at this time, 5 anacondas rushed out of the water. Each one was as thick as a wash basin, covered in scales and shining with a dim light. Damn it! Ling Yunfei turned pale with fright. Being in the air, there was no way to dodge. He was about to become food in the stomachs of the 5 anacondas. Qin Feiyang moved at this time. He stomped his foot, and with a bang, a huge pit appeared on the ground. With the help of the force, he jumped up and landed on top of the anacondas. Then, he turned in the air, head down, feet up, stretched out his arm, true energy gushed out, and his index finger pointed at the anaconda's glabella. Hiss! The next moment, a finger-sized bloody hole appeared in the glabella of the 5 anacondas. Blood gushed out like a fountain. With a painful hiss, they fell into the river and died on the spot. Fresh blood dyed the river red in an instant. At the same time, Qin Feiyang grabbed the panic-stricken Ling Yunfei and landed on the other side of the river. That was close. Ling Yunfei patted his chest, looked at Qin Feiyang gratefully, and then turned to look at the river. At this moment, he could not help but take a deep breath. These anacondas were ferocious beasts comparable to a 4-star martial master. They were actually killed in an instant? Was this a dream? He hurriedly looked at Qin Feiyang's index finger, and found that the index finger seemed to be condensed by ice, emitting a bright light. This is ice crystal finger. It is considered a good martial arts technique. Qin Feiyang smiled, and withdrew his true energy. The ice crystal on his index finger also quickly dissipated. Is this the power of a martial arts technique? Ling Yunfei's eyes shone. That was desire. Qin Feiyang saw it, but did not say anything. He smiled and said, "Let's go." Ling Yunfei hurriedly said, "Wait, we don't need the corpses of these anacondas, but we have to collect the snake scales on their 7 inches. Collect the guts for what?" Qin Feiyang frowned. "You don't know? That's right, I haven't told you. The big hunting competition is about who can kill the most ferocious beasts. Ordinary ferocious beasts are relatively large, and the Chinkoan bag can only hold a few. So in the past, as long as it is not a particularly rare ferocious beast, everyone will only take the most important parts to prove that they have killed it. The most important parts of these anacondas are the snake scales on their 7 inches. After Ling Yunfei finished his explanation, he prepared to go down the river to collect the snake scales. You just entered the Black Bear Mountain, and already killed a few anacondas. Your luck is not bad. However, at this moment, accompanied by a mocking voice, more than 10 young men and women walked out from the forest behind them, with a cold smile on their faces. Qin Feiyang's eyes turned cold. Chapter 54. More than 10 people walked over and blocked Qin Feiyang and Jiang Haoyin's path. Jiang Chuan, what are you doing? Ling Yunfei looked at the young man in black and frowned. Isn't it obvious? How dare you ask? You are indeed the trash of the Ling family. Jiang Chuan sneered. The rest of the people also laughed. Ling Yunfei's gaze turned cold as he said in a low voice, Jiang Haoyin, Jiang Chuan is not only a 3-star martial master, he has also mastered 2 superior martial techniques and has the strength of 6 elephants. The others are also martial masters with martial techniques. A wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. Let's retreat first. Retreat? Qin Feiyang frowned and turned to look at the anacondas in the river. Although the river was turbulent, the anacondas were too large and had not been washed away yet. This was his prey. How could he let others snatch it away? Suddenly, his gaze focused and locked onto a certain part of the water. There was a faint whirlpool there. Strange, I didn't see it just now. Qin Feiyang muttered in his heart. He carefully scanned the surface of the lake and found several whirlpools around the anacondas. I understand now. The anaconda's blood must have attracted other aquatic beasts. His eyes flashed as he turned to look at Jiang Chuan and the rest. Seeing that Jiang Chuan and the rest did not notice the abnormality in the water, he revealed a look of regret and sighed. I really don't want to give it to you, but I have no choice. Who told you to outnumber me? Jiang Chuan laughed. The rest laughed as well. At least you know what's good for you. But let me give you a word of advice. Don't play any tricks. Otherwise, you will die a horrible death. Jiang Chuan's eyes flashed with killing intent. He took 2 steps back and shouted, Get to the back right now. Qin Feiyang shrugged and looked at Ling Yunfei with a smile. Let's go. Ling Yunfei nodded. Then, the 2 of them walked past Jiang Chuan. Coward. Jiang Chuan sneered in disdain and said to the youths beside him, You guys, quickly go down and cut off the scales of the anacondas. Okay. The youths immediately pulled out the daggers at their waists and swam down the river towards the anacondas. Qin Feiyang stood 5 meters away and watched this scene coldly. However, Ling Yunfei clenched his fists tightly. His eyes were burning with anger. He lowered his voice and said, Those bastards are really lucky. The show is just about to start. Qin Feiyang said in a meaningful tone. Ling Yunfei was stunned. He looked at Qin Feiyang in confusion. Qin Feiyang didn't say anything. He just smiled mysteriously. Brother Jiang Chuan, I got the snake scale. I got it too. The youth shouted excitedly as they swam towards the shore. He calm. But at this moment, more than a dozen ferocious monsters rushed out of the water with deafening roars, creating huge waves. They were 2 to 3 meters long. Their bodies were black and covered with hard scales. Their huge eyes were filled with ferocity. Damn it! Why are there black-scaled crocodiles? Come up quickly. Jiang Chuan and the others turned pale and hurriedly shouted at the few youths. Brother Jiang Chuan, save me. The youths were scared out of their wits. They screamed for help and fled at the same time. They used all their strength. Quick, let's attack together, Jiang Chuan shouted. However, the rest of the youths did not rescue them. Instead, they retreated in panic. What are you doing? Jiang Chuan was furious. At this moment, a few screams of pain rang out. Jiang Chuan looked back and his face turned pale. The youths in the water had been dismembered by the black-scaled crocodiles. The scene was extremely bloody. Run. Those who were retreating were scared out of their wits. They hurriedly turned around and fled into the forest without looking back. Seeing this scene, Ling Yunfei was overjoyed. He turned to look at Qin Feiyang and asked, Is this the good show you were talking about? Now, it's the real show. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. Killing intent surged in his eyes. Swoosh. He used the shifting smoke steps and landed in front of a person in an instant. He punched with all his strength. No one expected Qin Feiyang to suddenly attack at this moment. They were caught off guard. That person screamed and fell into the river like a meteorite. Several black-scaled crocodiles pounced on him and died on the spot. Zhang Haoyan, you're courting death. The others were shocked. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. True Qi gushed out and rushed towards Qin Feiyang. Wind Thunder Palm. Qin Feiyang glanced at them. True Qi surged in his palm, and he struck out. Woo woo, with a palm strike, a gust of wind blew and sand and stones flew. The dozen or so people who were rushing towards him were blown away like fallen leaves in the wind. Accompanied by a series of thumping sounds, they fell into the river one after another. For the black-scaled crocodiles, this was a delicious meal. Their eyes were ferocious as they pounced forward crazily. Screams immediately rolled out in this place. Zhang Haoyan, I'm going to kill you. Now, I'll let you experience the power of the reckless ox fist. Seeing this, Jiang Chuan was infuriated. He ran in front of Qin Feiyang in a few steps and threw a punch. This punch was extremely fierce. The wind from the punch was like the roar of a bull. The momentum was quite shocking. Reckless ox fist? Qin Feiyang was surprised. Then, he smiled in relief. The Zhang family, the Mu family, and the Ling family all bought the reckless ox fist. As a child of the Zhang family, it was not strange that Jiang Chuan knew how to use the reckless ox fist. However, wasn't it a bit too naive to use his martial arts to kill him? Qin Feiyang smiled disdainfully. He raised his arm like lightning, and his index finger turned into ice crystals. He blocked Jiang Chuan's fist with one finger. How is this possible? Jiang Chuan's eyes widened. Didn't Patriarch Jiang tell you that I was the one who sold the reckless ox fist to him? Qin Feiyang's index finger trembled. The power in his body poured out without reservation. It had the strength of 8 elephants. Crack! Jiang Chuan's fist instantly split open and flesh flew everywhere. His entire body was sent flying and fell into the river with a thud. The 2 black-scaled crocodiles immediately pounced. Get lost! Jiang Chuan let out a furious roar and smashed his other hand forward. Ayo! The 2 black-scaled crocodiles howled and were sent flying on the spot. However, this action angered the entire group of crocodiles. They swarmed forward, and their bloody fangs were terrifying. Jiang Chuan's face was pale. Beside him floated the corpse of an anaconda. He had an idea. He grabbed the scales on the anaconda's body and jumped up with all his might. He was about to reach the shore. Get lost! Qin Feiyang came to the shore at this time. His face was cold as he kicked mercilessly. Zhang Haoyan, don't! Jiang Chuan shouted anxiously with a pleading tone. But Qin Feiyang turned a deaf ear and kicked his lower abdomen. Ayo! With a squeal that sounded like a pig being slaughtered, Jiang Chuan once again fell into the water. Moreover, he fell right beside the mouths of the black-scaled crocodiles. The outcome was obvious. He was mercilessly torn to pieces by the black-scaled crocodiles. Zhang Haoyan, we were wrong. We shouldn't have snatched your spoils of war. Please be merciful and save us. There were still 3 people who didn't die. They only lost an arm and struggled in the water, asking Qin Feiyang for help. But in the next moment, they were dragged into the water by the black-scaled crocodiles and never surfaced again. All of this happened slowly, but the whole process took less than 10 breaths. Jiang Chuan and his group were completely wiped out. Blood dyed the river red for dozens of meters. The smell of blood was nauseating. Ling Yunfei, who was behind, was dumbfounded. He didn't expect that Jiang Chuan and the others, who he was afraid of, would be so vulnerable in front of this person. This was the power of martial arts. At this moment, he had an unprecedented desire. What surprised him the most was Qin Feiyang's observation skills. From the previous situation, Qin Feiyang had obviously noticed that there were other beasts lurking in the river. But he and Jiang Chuan's group didn't notice it at all. This meant that compared to the person in front of him, he was still far behind. Taking a deep breath, Ling Yunfei strode over and gave Qin Feiyang a thumbs up. He shook his head and smiled bitterly. Just now, I thought you were really going to give up. But your method is a little. At this point, Ling Yunfei frowned and glanced at the bloody river. He felt a little uncomfortable. Qin Feiyang said, "You want to say that I'm cruel?" Ling Yunfei nodded. "I've tolerated the people of the Jiang family for a long time. They were courting death. What's more, this world is very cruel. If you don't kill them today, you'll probably die in their hands tomorrow. Living in such an environment, the only thing you have to do is to be more ruthless and ruthless than others." Qin Feiyang sneered. Hearing this, Ling Yunfei was speechless for a moment. Qin Feiyang turned to look at him and said, "You're the best example. You're obviously talented, but you're not valued. You don't even have martial arts skills. Have you ever thought about why?" Ling Yunfei clenched his fingers and said in a deep voice, "You don't understand my business." Qin Feiyang said, "I really don't know your difficulties. But if it were me, I wouldn't be silent. I would work hard to defeat all the problems and enemies in front of me." Ling Yunfei was furious and roared, "You have a family, a background, and someone to support you. But I'm different. I'm just an insignificant and pitiful person. No one will sympathize with me. Do you understand?" Sympathize? Qin Feiyang shook his head in disappointment. He turned to look at the blood-red river and said lightly, "I'll give you a word of advice. Those who need sympathy are all good-for-nothings. Those who really have backbone are those who work hard to protect their dignity." Ling Yunfei's body trembled. Splash! The group of black-scaled crocodiles emerged from the water and stared at Qin Feiyang, but they didn't dare to approach. There was obvious fear in their eyes. Soon, they then submerged into the water and disappeared. Qin Feiyang didn't intend to hunt them, because hiding in the water was very troublesome. It was better to find other prey. "Let's go. The real hunt begins now." Qin Feiyang turned and walked into the forest. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.